Oh, yeah. Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right. My God. We can do our part of getting our heads right. I can't speak for our baseball team, who just completely soiled themselves in the Big Apple. The Big Apple, more like the Big Crapple. That was the worst, most terrible, awful 27 innings of baseball I've seen in a long time. Well, since the last sweep. Just terrible. My God. How did the Padres lose on Padres Day?
What happened? I mean, I missed the last couple of days of last week, but the team was about to get a sweep for the first time.
We did get a sweep. We
Like,
swept, and
everything
then
was good. I thought.
just right back to zero. Good God, man. So frustrating. Frustrating. Like my man Blake Snell, who's also having a frustrating season. It's good to be here with you guys. I mean, I'm happy to be at work today. I'm happy to see my boys. First time back together again. It's been a little disjointed in the Ben and Woods family. I was out, and then Paulie was out. Paulie got sick, and it was, we just haven't been able to be together. I hope we survive this week together as one. Couldn't do it without you guys, the Tier 1s. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything that you do, all the support that you do give us. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. Now, he sounds worse than he feels, he says.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Kind of like lost my voice.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, dealing with whatever the hell I caught last week. It was not fun. It was like
Vegas doo-doo.
kind of flu-y at first, and then it just turned into like just a regular cold now.
I'm to the point now, and if I go anywhere like Vegas or something again, I'm just gonna wear rubber gloves and a mask. just in case. Like we're going to Hawaii, by the way, at the end of July. Ben Higgins joins us as well. Good morning, Ben. You are a foremost authority on Hawaii, as you went twice in 1 year.
I did go twice in 1 year,
Yep.
and I am jealous that you're getting to go. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Don't be jealous. Be happy for me. This is the lesson I'm trying to teach my 6-year-old, and it seems like I have to teach my 48-year-old the same thing.
Don't know what you going to Hawaii does for me.
Be happy for me. This is like my son, Bo, is 6. He finished second in the home run derby 2 years in a row, and he lost to his best friend, Jackson. And he gets mad. Now, I love the competitive fire, but you also have to be a good teammate and say, hey, man, you deserve this. Congratulations. You beat me fair and square. So I'm trying to teach my 6-year-old that at home, and now I got to come into work and teach my 48-year-old the same thing.
I'm not saying you don't deserve it. It's not like I don't want you to have a good time, but yes, I am jealous that you're getting to go. And
stop being so jealous.
A little peeved that I'm being left behind to man the ship while you're gone.
7 deadly sins, and one of them is envy, and it's the only one you have. I don't even remember the point I was trying to make here in this long rambling intro, but welcome everybody back to the studio. And I don't know if I want to go straight into these turds.
No,
I really don't.
No. How was your Father's
Day? Have
Day?
some fun,
How
man.
was your Father's Day?
It was unbelievably great. Unbelievably great. Very proud of the Tier 1 baseball team. We finished the season, the regular season, 10-4. And you may remember, Benny, we were sitting in here 6 weeks ago at 4-4. Really on the cusp of, we needed to figure out who we wanted to be. And we ripped off 6 straight wins and first place, alone in first place. Very proud of the guys. Ran into a lot of Tier 1s in the other team yesterday. Really nice dudes. We won 8-7 yesterday. Our closest game of the we were 8-1 in the 9th.
Oh.
And our pitcher, Bruffy, decided, I'm going to work on my curveball. And everyone started kicking it around. Next thing you know, it's 8-7.
Brought Stephen Kolek into the game.
Yeah, tying run on third. And I'm like, hey, can we stop working on our curveball and just get some outs? But we ended up winning the game. My family came to the game. It was awesome. Nothing like getting heckled by your 6-year-old for hitting into a double play, which is really cool. He gives me the, what was that? And I'm like, he was a bat at bat. You're going to have him too, you little ass. So he was heckling me from the stands. But it was a great day, man. And then went to In-N-Out for lunch. Went home, got a nap, watched the U.S. Open, watched the Padres just completely soil themselves, and then had a delicious dinner from Rosanna's, which is my favorite restaurant on the planet, and crushed that and got to bed early, man. Feel good.
Outstanding.
How about you?
Let's see. I would say mostly good with the little bad thrown in.
What was the bad?
Let me start with the good. I'm a positive guy. First of all, Got the coolest present from my wife and kids. I got Funko'd.
Funko.
Yeah, it's a doll. If you're on your YouTube stream, you see me. It's me. It's a doll of me. It's in a little glass case. It's got my glasses. I've got a pair of headphones that I'm holding.
That's awesome.
My little brown dog is there as well. And I thought this was just one of the coolest gifts I've ever received. It has my name on it, Ben Higgins.
Yep, very good.
And I can put it back here in the backdrop so people can see it when they're in the studio.
I love it.
Which was fun. And then I got to play a real fun round of golf with my father-in-law and brothers-in-law at La Jolla Country Club, where he's a member. It was a scramble, fun tournament, tough course, very tough course, very fancy. You know, Fancy Ben likes that. The one bad part was, unfortunately, on Saturday, I had my engine light came on in my car, so I had to drop it off, and the dealer needed to check, like, what I didn't know what was wrong with it. And here's the good news. There was a recall on something, so they're going to fix it absolutely for free. Hooked me up with a loaner car, and that was like late on Saturday. They said, we can't fix it today, but we'll give you this loaner, no charge. Just, leave it with us for a couple of days, and we'll get it back to you early next week. So I got my golf clubs out. I got everything. I was good to go, and then I realized my work computer was still in the car.
You do this all
I know. And they are closed on Sundays, and I needed it for work last night at Channel 10. I had all my stories and everything on it for my show.
So you broke into the dealership.
No, I mean, the sales staff was in there, and there was a manager. So I show up, and the manager says, I might be able to access the car, but I can't access your key. It's locked away, and I don't have it. Do you have the spare key? No, so I have to go and get the spare key to come back to get it, and finally, eventually, got my computer after a very long and drawn-out process on my Father's Day, so I could then go to work last night. So, some good, some not great on Father's Day.
It's quintessential Ben Higgins. We have pulled up to a golf course before, and we got it out of the car. Paulie and I are walking up to the range to get loose, and Ben... You see him pause by his car and go, I'll be right back, and slam his trunk, get in his car, and leave. And I'm calling, where are you going? I forgot my golf shoes. I'm like, oh, my God, you're like my 6-year-old. Holy cow.
I usually just keep everything in the car so I can't forget it, but when the car gets changed out on me, there's sometimes some problems.
No, we had such a great time. My kids were very sweet, made me the best gifts. Bo's card. Dad, happy Father's Day. I'm sorry I'm so hard to deal with. Love, Bo. And I lost it. I lost my mind. And I'm like...
Did you feel a little guilty?
Yes. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Because I told you on Friday, man, we've been butting heads a little bit, trying to get it figured out. And I said, well, how did you learn how to spell all this? He said, I asked Alexa. He went into the kitchen, got a card out, made it, started writing on it, and asked Alexa how to spell Father's Day, sorry, all these words, and he did it himself by asking Alexa. I'm like, you're a genius, man. And he's just the sweetest.
Alexa, how do you spell sorry?
Yeah. Hey, Alexa, how do you spell...
So sad.
I know.
So...
How do you spell degenerate son?
so sad.
It was so sad. And I walked in, and he gave it to me, and I just choked. Shoot.
Here's what I'm going to need. There's a way if you go onto the Alexa app, it saves all of the recordings.
All the recordings. Hannah's listening.
You'll be able to find
what he asked for.
Everything.
Yeah. That's how he said he did it. All right. Yeah, Hannah can probably do it in the next half an hour. I mean, she's busy, but yeah, it was really sweet. Taylor made me this awesome thing from elementary school, holding 3 letters, D-A-D. It was really sweet. I got this new backpack, which means your backpack is, well, I don't want to disparage it. Our company gave us these really...
nice.
They're
I think
nice.
It's the word you're looking for.
I was going to say...
Michael's listening, so nice is the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
I wore mine out in less than a year.
Does flimsy... I mean,
no.
Not flimsy.
No.
Nice.
Nice.
They gave us these. Now, I had a Padres backpack that broke, which is a harbinger of things to come. Just fell apart at the seams. So I started using this one. It wasn't great. So I needed a new one. So I got a new one. I did not know. My wife got me a Yeti backpack. I did not know that Yeti made backpacks. And I was like, is this a cooler that I wear on my back? No, idiot. It's a backpack. And I said, oh, this is rad. Which means I texted Ben immediately. I got a new backpack, which means you get a new backpack. So now you have my Odyssey backpack.
Which is exactly like my old worn-out Odyssey backpack.
Yeah, it's exactly. So now you have another year at least, and maybe next year for Father's Day, we get you can get this Yeti. You get this Yeti next year, and I'll get a new one. And then my wife got me some cool Jordans, like low-cut Jordans, Paulie. I'll show you. They're pretty cool.
Nice.
They haven't gotten here yet. Those are pretty sick. And then what she did, I thought was really thoughtful. Our guys at Callaway a couple of years ago made us all custom Ben & Woods golf bags. It has our logo on it. And, you know, obviously it's got our logo. It's not something I can go to Golf Mart and replace. I flew with my clubs. Something happened to the stand, and it, like, bent it in half. And you can't just replace the stand, I found out. So she contacted our buddy Jason, and Jason said, I'm going to get him a new Callaway golf bag. And Callaway just knocks it out of the park for us. They are the title sponsor of the Ben & Woods Open that goes down this Wednesday. So we have no more tickets available. You cannot buy tickets to play. I'm sorry. We gave you guys 1,000 chances. You can, though, come up to Goat Hill and hang out with us. Help us heckle people on the 10th hole. I have a minor. We did not get the beans. I'm sorry. I left them in my cart. Hit a green, eat a bean. I left the bamboozled beans in my cart, and I never ordered them. I'm sorry. That's fine. We have Ben's Glory Hole. We have the Heckle Hole. You guys you don't have to buy a ticket. Just come hang out with us if you want. Watch people golf.
Buy some raffle
tickets for these incredible prizes.
Closest to the pin to win a custom Ben & Woods Nixon watch, which I am also modeling today on the YouTube stream if you want to check it out. And even if you want to see the back of it, it has Ben & Woods Open on it. It's hard to take off. But yeah, it's got Ben & Woods Open.
It looks really
right
cool.
There, Ben & Woods right there on the watch. So
yeah, please come hang out with us.
Unbelievable prizes.
Grab some food and everything else. So we're gonna have a good time.
Quickly, I wanted to ask you, what were you doing when I was walking in this morning?
Oh, we were filming you.
Yes.
Because
shall we tease later? We can talk about why you were filming me? Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. We'll explain why. You've probably already seen the video if you're on our social media channels. But, yes, I was surprised as I walked into the door to a camera crew as I walked into the Odyssey studios this morning. So we can talk about that a little bit later.
I'm dreading talking about this team. And I'll tell you why. Ben sent a text over the weekend, and it sat with me for about 36 hours. And I've been thinking of almost nothing but this text. And there's so many layers to these simple words. We'll read it for you. You can kick it around. Don't feel sorry for us. We're fine. You're going to be fine too. But it just sat with me all weekend when I read it, and I went, he's a prophet. Ben Higgins is an actual prophet with a brand new backpack.
That's a good tease.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll come back and we'll tell you what I texted Woods and set the menu for the show on a Monday. We do have a very special guest coming up a little bit later. Stay tuned for all of that coming up. Let's get our first check of traffic with Kelly Danick coming up here on 97.3 The Fan. I think Wood said it well. Don't feel sorry for us.
No.
We have a great, fun job.
Yes.
We like being here in the mornings, and we don't have to talk about the San Diego Padres. I think perhaps Adam wouldn't be all that pleased if we just stopped talking about them, but we can talk about other things. We can talk about the great U.S. Open finish yesterday.
Oh, God.
We can talk about the Caitlin Clark cultural lightning rod that's going on. I don't really want to, but it's certainly a topic that everyone's talking about. We could avoid Padres talk for a while
Game
here.
5 of the NBA Finals.
Sure,
tonight.
yeah. You know,
And
Dallas trying to pull off
Stanley
history.
Cup.
Game 4 of the blowout game, that was unexpected.
There's other topics in the world. We could just talk about non-sports things the entire time.
Sandwiches.
We could
All
do
in.
4 hours. We do 20 hours on sandwiches this week.
I thought about it, man. I really did after this weekend. I thought to myself, hey, you got to go in there and talk about these guys again.
It's a hard team to talk about. It
I
really is.
I tweeted, it's a really hard team to cover. And you sent a text over the weekend that honestly, man, kind of blew my mind. And I felt it when you sent it. You know, sometimes you get a text and it like punches you in the mouth. And you're like, bro, you just summed up the entirety of the whole situation for me. So I had Paulie, this is Saturday, 3:47 p.m. And back to 500. And then I had a very, very crass.
You don't need to
No?
read your text.
I'll amend it. I said if 500 was a woman, they'd make love to it.
They're very close. The
Very
Padres
close.
and 500.
They
Very
love
intimate.
500.
Intimately connected.
Yeah, they'd make sex with
Intertwined,
it.
as it
Correct.
were,
And
with
then
500.
Ben, this is the
Oh,
one.
my God.
Hey, look at that, guys. 500.
500. Oh, my God.
Oh, wow. We're 2 games over 500. Let's drop these next 2 so that we can.
Pound Town.
So Benny writes this, and I'm telling you, since Saturday 3:48, I've been thinking about nothing but this text. He says, I feel like nothing we ever say about this team is correct or meaningful. And you probably looked at it as like a throwaway comment. But what it did for me, it summed up the last 2 years to my core. Like it went like, and I sat on it and I sat with it and I reread it and I thought about it all week. I was playing baseball yesterday thinking about that. And there's a certain ability that, like, I'd say national sports radio hosts have. There's an ability to say something off the wall and stupid. People rail you for it for 30 minutes, and then you move on with your life. You're making $1 million a year. You're on television. You're like, oh, the Mavericks are going to cruise in this series. They get smoked, and you're like, who cares? I'm wrong 90% of the time. I don't have that gene that lets me just forget about things that I say that I don't feel are dumb things at the time. I feel like they're actually smart things at the time. This team continues to prove everybody wrong. And that's the tough part, man. I sit with that a lot.
I've covered sports for long enough that I realize there are good teams that play bad for a while. There are bad teams that play good for a while. There's an up and down factor for every season and every team. But ultimately, almost every team will develop tendencies that you can mostly rely on. An identity, something. They're a team that steals a lot of bases. They're a team that does this well but doesn't do this well. And over, a few months, now that we're 2.5 months plus into the season, you should be able to identify some tendencies of a baseball team. I'm having still trouble doing this with the San Diego Padres. For a while, they hit well on the road, but they can't hit at home. They win on the road, they can't win at home. Well, they've completely 180 that now in the last week or two. Why? No idea. No idea why. And it's very difficult to understand, explain, and talk about on a daily basis when this team doesn't give you any anchors to really grab onto.
Not one, man. Not one. Except for average. Average. And when I say average, I mean mediocre 500. Chris Ello, 16 hours ago, sent a tweet. It said, why sweat it when it seems that 500 is all that's possible in exactly 2 years since June 17th of 2022? The Padres have played 346 games, including playoffs. Their record is 173 and 173. That is confounding. It's ridiculous. It makes you feel like the first thing I thought of when you sent that, Benny, this is not a shot at you at all because you didn't say that they do it. Your job at the roundtable is to ask questions and get responses. The first thing I thought of was we're sitting in there on Thursday after sweeping the A's, and Ben says, all right, so does everybody have a feeling now that maybe this team has turned the corner? You get that sweep out of the way, and everyone gave their answers, and I'm sitting there going, and my answer was, you got to show me a little bit more, right?
No.
But I didn't feel like, oh, man, what an idiot Ben is. Ben asked the question. We gave the answers. We gave what we thought, and I think it's so hard to handicap what this team is going to do on a nightly basis. You look at yesterday's game after dropping the first two, and you go, all right, Dylan Cease is on the bump. We're heavily favored in this game. We're going to roll with Dylan Cease. He's going to put a stop to this. And I know he struggled a little bit the last 6 starts maybe. But you feel like, all right, this guy's going to stop it. No, God, no. 4-0 before you blink. And it makes you feel like you're an idiot, really, covering this team. Really makes you feel like you're a dumbass.
If you had told me before the Mets series that it was going to end in a sweep, I would have said, okay, I'm like 80 to 90% sure that it's the Padres doing the sweeping, not getting swept based on what I saw last week. I'm not doing that anymore. You know what? If the Padres go to Philadelphia the next 3 days and they sweep the Phillies, I'm not letting myself get overly excited.
No,
about
because
it's good news.
All you're doing, though,
it's good news. But then they could come home next weekend and absolutely lose 2 out of 3 at home or all 3. You have to show me something over more than a week or two to tell me what you are, other than a 500 team.
I mean, with those numbers, 173 and 173. It's going to take more than a week or two for me, really. And
more than a week or two.
It's going to take more than a week or two of
and
good
by the way,
baseball.
that holds both ways as well. Everybody who is now, jumping off the bandwagon and saying, AJ, everybody needs to be fired. Wait 5 days, and now how do you feel?
Right.
Wait 5 more days. How do you feel after that?
We're in on selling. Oh no, we're in on buying at the deadline. Now we should probably sell. No, but we just took 2 or 3 from Philly. We probably should add. It's maddening. They're maddening. They're going to put me in a sanitarium. 173 and 173 over their last 346. That's who they are. It's just who they are, and they did not show up in New York at all. They never got off the plane in New York. And we said it on Friday, Benny. We were talking to Italian Paul when he was in, and he's like, or on Thursday, he's like, guys, it's the Mets. You guys are going to take care of business. I said, Italian Paul, they got 2 lefties on the bump. We have not been able to figure out lefties. He's like, and, this lefty's 0-2 with a 10 ERA in the month of June. That's Sean Manaea. And Quintana had been terrible, too, in June. No problem. You need to get right. We'll get you right. That's the team we are right now. We are the get you right squad. And I don't like being a fan of the get you right squad. I like to be a fan of a team that handles business. I'm sorry, man. Jose Quintana throwing 90 miles an hour up in the zone. You guys can't hit that. Manny, Toddy, all these guys. You can't hit that? You might be in the wrong business. I mean,
Tatis, who was the hottest baseball player on the planet for a week to 2 weeks in the start of June, all of a sudden goes 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts yesterday.
Yeah, Tatis was 1 for 12 in the series. Manny was 1 for 11 in the series. Solano, 0 for 8. Solano couldn't miss. Crony, 1 for 10. What are we doing here? Ha-Seong Kim, 1 for 9. I mean, what in the world? What in the world? Again, you're not going up against the 3, but you're going up against 3 very average middling players. And you didn't show up again, and you got swept. You undid all the goodwill, all the good things you did. By the way, that you pulled 2 of those games out of your ass completely against the lowly A's. We said it. We said that's a red flag, but hey, you take the wins. How you don't complain about wins. That's a huge red flag. I mean, credit to them for doing that, because it could have been a lot worse. But holy smokes, you got to beat those guys if you want to be a good team and not just an average team.
At this point, let's just take them one at a time. And we'll talk about yesterday's game coming up next in our Padres Wrap-Up. wasn't a good one by any stretch of the imagination, although there was a certain spin, of course, coming from the Padres manager about why there was some signs of encouragement. I don't know if you want to buy what they're selling, but we'll certainly let you know what he had to say after the game.
I got to start listening to I can't. This is why I can't do it, because I don't want my Father's Day ruined by, well, he actually fought back. No. You got swept by the New York Mets, man. And 3 very average pitchers.
You'll have a chance to take on Woods in our 7 o'clock segment and qualify for the trip to the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. Don't do this at 7:20. We'll continue the Padres talk and a little U.S. Open talk as well. At 8:35, Sam Levitt, who, of course, was doing the pre- and post-game shows all weekend long, will join us. And how about in our 9 o'clock hour, in addition to the usual Reindl Report, we will be joined by one of the opponents for the series in Philadelphia starting later today. Potential all-star reliever Matt Strahm will be back with Ben and Woods at about 9:15 this morning. So we'll catch up with Strahm, who is having a terrific season in the Phillies bullpen. A very, very nasty Phillies bullpen that the Padres are going to have to face. Wouldn't recommend being down 2 or 3 runs going into the 7th or 8th against this team over the next 3 days. So that's all on the menu for today's show. We'll start it with the Padres wrap-up. Coming up next, don't go away, more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. From a healthier weight to more energy, when you switch your dog's food to the Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical. What sorcery is this? None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/radio.
We should get some of that in the Padres clubhouse. Give me the
healthier
benefits again.
Healthier weight, more energy.
Yeah, more energy.
Better batting average.
Better bat control.
All those good benefits from the Farmer's Dog.
If you guaranteed me I would get 4 knocks in the playoffs next week, and I would eat Farmer's
you can.
Dog.
It's human-grade food.
Okay.
It's not. You wouldn't actually
guarantee me
suffer any ill effects from it at all.
100%.
All right. Yesterday's game, well, like the rest of them this weekend, it was ugly and painful in a slightly different way than the first 2 games, though. We will go through our Padres wrap-up and discuss the 11-6 loss to the New York Mets and the sweep right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Well, our Cordell & Cordell traffic cam shows a new crash on the northbound side of the 805 right past the 54. Those vehicles are in the center divide, very close to that HOV lane, so you want to take it extra carefully there. Fortunately, no other problems on our roads at this time. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Purchase a grill this week and your first cookout is free courtesy of Omaha Steaks. That's a dozen free burgers and a dozen free franks. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware, where service still matters. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame, it's a shame, it's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
Up against Blake Snell. Manny swings here, lines it into left center, and a base hit. Profar in to score. Cronenworth wheeling his way around to third base. RBI single for Manny Machado. His first Father's Day as a dad, and the Padres have a lead for the first time here this weekend. 1-1 from Dylan Cease. And Lindor hits it in the air to deep right field. Fernando is back. He's at the wall watching this one. Gonna go. Second deck in right field. 3 hits against Dylan Cease, 3 home runs against Dylan Cease for Lindor. Just like that, this game is tied 1-1 in the bottom of the first inning. Pete Alonso stands in, swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air, very deep to left field. Profar is back. He's at the wall looking up. It's going to go over the old wall in left center for Pete Alonso. 15th of the year. This is a 3-run shot, and a couple of first inning home runs for the Mets have given them a 4-1 lead. Cease is set outside target, and the pitch swung on, hit in the air to right field, pretty well struck. Fernando back on the warning track, leaps up over his head, off the top of the wall, comes down on the warning track. Nimmo will come all the way around to score, and Martinez into second base with an RBI double. 7-1 Mets here in the fourth. 3-2 to Profar in a 7-1 game. Here's the pitch. And Jurickson swings, grounds it towards first base. Alonso way back on the outfield grass has got it. Throws to first with McGill covering in time. The run will score as Camposano crosses the plate. But you got to figure the Mets will take that trade. Now a 7-2 game with 2 outs. And a rise at third base. Now the 1-2. Kim swings, hits it in the air to left center field. That's going to get down. And a base hit. Going to find the gap, go all the way to the wall. Solano comes in to score. Peralta held at third. An RBI double for Ha-Sung Kim. And now a 7-5 game here in the 8th. 1-1. Here's the pitch. Camposano swings, lines it into center field right at Bader. Has to hop up and make the catch at the last moment. That'll get Peralta home. It's a sac fly. And now a 1-run game here in the 8th. 2-1, hit in the air to left center field. That's well struck. Merrill is back on the warning track, fielding for the wall, leaps up, gonna go. Luis Torrens, a home run. Let's get a little bit of space here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 8-6. 1-1, grounded sharply to third, off the glove of Solano, and down the left field line. Bader has scored, Lindor is on his way. 2 more runs come in, and the Met lead is back to 5, 11-6. 2-2, swung on, hit sharply, up the middle, and again McNeil, this time on the backhand. Long throw to first is in time, and the ball game is over. For the first time since 2006 at Shea Stadium, the Mets have swept the Padres.
Man, what a great at-bats to get us to 7-6. You know, Bader makes a play on Campy's ball. Could have really broke it up and could have got the lead. But, you know, just great at-bats. Go out of heart. Could have easily said, you know what, not our day, not our series, move on. You know, it's been an easy thing to do, but this is not a team that's going to take the easy way out. And just because we don't get the win doesn't mean we didn't throw it all out there, but there's no moral victories. I get that. But guys fought like crazy to grab one. We just we didn't get the lead almost the whole series outside of the first today, and it was short-lived.
Hard to believe. We talked to that guy on Friday. Everything seemed right in Padres land.
I feel broken.
Very
inside.
pleasant conversation. And now here we are on Monday going, oh, how could it have turned so quickly?
Somebody said in the chat they were not surprised that the Padres got swept by the Mets. I am surprised they got swept. I really am. The Angels was inexplicable and inexcusable. The Rockies was just the start of the questions that you had about this team. This one really surprised me. I know the Mets had won 2 in a row before the Padres got in and all that, but man, again, couple of soft tossers. I mean, Manny doesn't throw soft, but he has been a really ineffective pitcher since the beginning of June. Quintana is 35 years old. On his last dying breath, he looked like Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton against this team.
So I was worried about Saturday's game with Major on the mound.
Oh,
that one I was definitely worried about, but I felt Waldron's been pitching really well. I think he's going to shut down the Mets, and we'll win that one.
But that was Quintana against Major.
Yes.
That's the one where you look at and go, hey, this kid's probably going to get his tees lit. We have to go out and hit this 38-year-old.
But even if you know you're going to lose that one, I felt good about Friday.
Yeah.
I felt good about Waldron versus Manny, who you said had been struggling lately.
Dying.
I felt like all they need is like 3 or 4 runs, probably going to be enough the way Waldron was pitching. And it was. But Waldron was terrific. 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs for Waldron. Another outstanding start, yet they only manage 1 run and they lose that one. And then, of course, you got Dylan Cease in the last game of the series.
No brainer.
You got your ace. You got that one for sure. So I feel good about taking 2 out of 3. I think the Saturday game was going to be the tough one. And then Dylan Cease comes out yesterday. And before you know it, gives up 4 runs in 4 batters. And I said it's hard to pin down some tendencies on this team. There is one tendency that's held pretty consistently throughout the year. Padres pitching doesn't give up a ton of base runners. They're in the top third of the league in fewest walks allowed. They don't give up a ton of hits. I think they're in the top half in opponent batting average. When they do get hits, though, they leave the yard.
Yeah, they're bombs.
The opposing teams just tend, when they hit one, it goes out of the yard. There's only, I think, 6 teams in baseball who have given up more home runs than the San Diego Padres this season. And Dylan Cease is the latest victim of it. Just had a really bad start. There's no warning signs heading into this one that Dylan Cease was going to have an awful start and give up 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings. Completely out of the blue. We would have sounded crazy if we had said on Friday, I expect Dylan Cease to really struggle against the Mets on Sunday.
Yeah,
why would you? Why?
He's losing a little bit of that trust, Benny. He's been slumping, I would say, because pitchers can slump as well.
He's been not really. If you look at his last few starts, it's kind of gone win loss. He's been
that's kind of
inconsistent, but there've been some good starts in there as well.
Yeah, I mean he's it's been about a month for him. Where
not as dominant as he was earlier. That's for sure.
Of course. But I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Is there anything particular about the game that ticked you off other than falling behind early?
No, it's more the same.
The sending or the not sending
non-send. It's so tough.
Of Ha-Seong Kim when Luis Arraez had a chance to tie the game, singles with the runner on second. With Ha-Seong Kim on second and Arraez at the bat, I'm thinking, all right, probably going to get a single to the outfield, and he's going to score from second base.
Marte threw a seed.
Yeah, it's hard to say it was the wrong decision with Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up, and the Lindor was or not Lindor. Who was in right field?
It's Marte.
Marte was
Starling
playing
Marte.
shallow
Yep.
and got up to it quickly, threw a really good – he probably would have been out. Probably by a few feet. And we would have said, what are you doing, Tim Leeper? Tatis is coming up. You can't take the bat out of his hands there. So I can't complain about that necessarily. Manny getting ejected in the 6th inning.
Yep.
Certainly some frustration. It was a borderline pitch.
He had a rough series.
It did light up the strike zone, the one that it didn't. It kind of did. It kind of did. It was very. It was one of those shadow calls. You can't expect the umpire to get every single one of those exactly right, but obviously the frustration went much deeper than just one pitch.
Than one pitch. Certainly, it was got one hit in the series. Got roasted. So I didn't see. I was at dinner Saturday night. And came home to all the hubbub about the running down to first base thing that happened on Saturday. I guess we can save that for when we talk about Saturday night's game. So, I don't know. Look, when you get one hit in a series, you're going to be on the spit, as you should be. And Fernando as well. I mean, nobody showed up. Nobody really showed up. Jackson Merrill did. He's about the only one that shows up right now. So, I don't know. I don't know if you make this team better. I don't know what you do to make this team better. I'm at a loss. I really am at a loss. A very, very, and to give them, I think, credit for their fight in the 6th or 7th inning of the last game, which you've already been bodied the first two, is that's a tough look.
Only
for me,
to cough up every
Only
run
to
that you
cough them
score
right back
immediately.
And Estrada's been so good this year. Nobody's going to be perfect throughout. I understand that.
He's been a little off since he was sick.
Since he was ill.
Yeah, since he had that illness. He definitely has not looked exactly the same. Hopefully that's temporary and bounces back to what he was pre-illness, but hasn't been the same the last week or so.
Yeah, man. It's just when things are going bad, you ask about the send, right? Or the non-send. When things are going bad for your team, every decision is the wrong decision. The decision, if he had sent him, he would have been killed. He didn't send him, he's getting killed, right? Every decision is the wrong decision that the San Diego Padres are making right now. You put in Jeremiah Estrada to try to hold that to a one-run. Jeremiah Estrada, who doesn't give up a lot of runs ever, gives up 4 runs, hands it right back. He's clearly off. It's terrible, man. Every decision is the wrong decision right now. And it's magnified when you don't hit, when you don't score runs, when your offense is dying, And again, Mike Schilt was so happy that they battled back to get those runs so then he could say, well, we didn't get totally bodied this series. We fought hard and these guys don't give up. And I understand that's something a manager's got to say. But at some point, he's going to have to say, these dudes need to figure it out,
It's it's important that your team doesn't just fold their tents every time they get down. I understand that, and he's always going to be positive about his team. It also smacks a little bit to me of a self-serving comment. Look at the team that doesn't quit on me. You've seen other managers and teams quit on their managers, but they're not quitting on me.
Not this version
right now.
Right?
They're not doing that. We may not have won, but they didn't quit on me is kind of the unsaid part of that. And I don't, it doesn't really matter, as he said. If you don't win, it doesn't matter. I did think there was something that Mike Schultz said that was accurate after the game. It's true basically in all of baseball, but he said that the Padres definitely need to do a better job of marrying their hitting and pitching. It does feel like, hey, get a good pitching effort. Where was the offense? Get some offense, even if it comes late. Where was the pitching today? Why can't they both happen on the same day on occasion? Why does one have to disappear like it's some sort of teeter-totter scale? Oh, we got a good pitching? Well, then we better stop hitting today. Oh, the pitching's struggling? Well, now let's put up a few runs and lose this one close, or have a chance at it but not pull it out late. The Padres don't seem to all be on sync, on the same page, at least for any extended period of time, which is why they have not won more than 4 games in a row in the last season and a half, and have only won more than 3 games in a row once when they did it earlier this year. Or I guess they did it late last year as well, but they have barely done it at all in the last season and a half because they're not marrying for extended stretches good pitching with good hitting. They just can't do it for 2 weeks straight where they just have really solid pitching and hitting all at the same time.
It's confounding. Like you said.
They get both at times, but rarely both together.
Yeah, Ivan says, who cares we had good at-bats, guys? LOL. Yeah, I know. I care about wins. I care about beating Jose Quintana. That's who I care about beating. You're not going to go anywhere if you don't beat the Jose Quintanas of the world or the Angels pitching staff or the Rockies pitching staff. You're not going to go anywhere.
All right, we'll come back. We can talk a little bit about Saturday's loss, play a little Take on Woods, hour number 2 on a Monday next on The Fan.
This is a interesting conspiracy theory just popped up in the chat. Did you guys see this from Frank? Frank says Manny was never injured. I don't believe he even had surgery. All a cover for his decline since the Padres extended him. The franchise doesn't want to admit it was a mistake and should have let him walk. Your thoughts on that, Ben?
Breaking news. Breaking news. We'll try to get comments on that from everybody involved as soon as possible.
Yeah, I would like if A.J. Castavell would potentially ask maybe Mike Schilt about that cover-up.
It's an intricate...
A detailed web of lies.
Well, I mean, yeah, the rehab process, the setbacks, cleverly employed to really give it that real post-surgery feel.
Fake scar.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Smart.
I mean.
Smart. Like, man, we locked this guy into this contract for the next 10 years. He's not playing that well right now. Let's say he got surgery and he didn't. Listen, there's no bad ideas in brainstorming, Frank. Apparently. Sometimes there are. I'd like to amend that. Ben actually has some bad ideas in brainstorming sometimes. But I can't, you're not supposed to say it.
There's no way to know whether the elbow surgery recovery combined with the hip flexor strain is having anything to do with Manny's struggles. Yeah, it's possible that both of those things are completely unrelated to his struggles at the plate this season.
Do you guys read letters to AJ? I've told you about it before.
You have told us about it, yes.
You got to go subscribe on Substack. How proud are you of me, Paulie, that I actually figured out how to subscribe on Substack?
I'm floored.
It's amazing that I didn't have to call you.
You didn't send one text.
No, I did it by
one phone call.
Did it all myself.
Is it www.substack.com?
No,
is that how it works?
No, I don't know how that works. It is substack.com and search for letters to AJ. Whoever this person is, I think Craig's had him on before, and I know that our pals at Quintelligence have had him on. Maybe the Kept Faith as well. He's really smart. And I would like to take credit for all of his ideas because they're brilliant ideas. He should actually replace me, and I'll go do whatever he does for a living because he's really, really good. But he's talking about a couple of things in regards to Manny Machado. Listen to this. The thing is, it's not clear that the team thinks it has a systemic problem here. They seem as bewildered as fans. Manny Machado has 1 for his last 15, continues to primarily hit high in the order, despite very clearly not being 100% physically. That's a choice. That's something that can be controlled. This brings to mind several questions that can't be answered from outside the organization, like us, like the chat, but could only be answered within the organization. Number one, does the team still see the current version of Manny as one of the best hitters on the roster? Number two, if the Padres do feel Machado is one of the best current hitters on the roster, is that based on historical information? Or is he putting on incredible game speed batting practice displays? Or do the Padres see something in the film or the StatCast data that the rest of us are missing? Number three, do the Padres think that Eggy Rosario would be performing worse than a hurt Manny Machado? It's entirely possible that the team, which does have more information about Machado than anybody else does, may feel that Machado is playing a lot better than the numbers that he's putting up. So,
isn't it true, though, and I haven't checked the data recently, obviously this latest slump's going to make it even look worse, but isn't it true that Manny's main problem is not lower exit velocity or barrels, it's launch angle, that he's hitting the ball on the ground too much, and his line drives aren't going high enough, so the power is way down, and he's also not getting a lot of batting average in play. That's something that I could assume the Padres would look at and go, Manny is just a tick away from being back to Manny if he could just get it back.
And he says, and like we're in here speculating about, but this is what's really good. The reason this matters, there's evidence that shows that hitting fourth is a crucial spot in the game, sequencing across the season. It's a spot that's too important to give a player on reputation alone. There needs to be some real-time info suggesting that hitting Machado fourth is the appropriate allocation. The team should only continue to award the spot to Manny if they have conviction that his performance results have been worse than the underlying process. There's reason to think this is not the team's assessment. In the final game against the Mets, Machado was dropped to fifth. Earlier this season, we saw similar persistent performance degradation from Xander Bogaerts. In that case, it finally culminated with a drop in the order to hitting sixth. That was sad to see, but it was meritocratic.
But also remember, as
He's a
Xander,
smart dude.
As Xander was dropping, you had Jurickson Profar, starting to hit out of his mind.
Sure.
And they finally realized, okay, I guess Jurickson's just good this year. And they moved him up. Who are you moving up? Who is doing so well?
But not in the cleanup spot, I wouldn't imagine.
I can't imagine that they're ready to put Jackson Merrill in the cleanup spot, even though he has shown plenty of power over this last week.
Well, and it was when Solano hit those 2 home runs, it's okay, no problem. If Manny needs to go down or he needs to be on the IL, Solano was 0 for 8 in this series, didn't do anything. It just,
Now you're talking about, Eggy Rosario slugging a lot at AAA, but we've seen Eggy here. Do we trust that he can come up? And if we really did want to give Manny a break, that Eggy would immediately come in and be performing for the Padres? They just don't have a lot of options when it comes to who they're going to hit, 4th, 5th in the lineup.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to it. Again, though, you do feel it's given to Manny based on his track record, right? Like, which, again, I don't think it's that uncommon to be like, he's got 300 home runs in the big leagues. This is our 4-hole hitter. He's going to work it out. But it certainly doesn't look like he's, anywhere up to the task right now. So I don't know what you do. I think you can certainly maneuver the lineup around. That's always the easy suggestion is, oh, well, it's not working. Start tinkering with the lineup a little bit. Fine. I mean, I have no problem with it. I've never been a guy that comes in here and says, and you will have those guys that say, don't stop messing with the lineup. Nobody can get in a groove. No. I say jigger it every chance you get if it's not working.
I did see the play on Saturday that had some people up in arms about Manny and not hustling it out to first base. If you want to discuss that, let me throw out the phone numbers first for Take on Woods. We need a contestant here in about 2 minutes. Chance to qualify for the getaway to Las Vegas, the dining credit, the concert tickets, the whole shooting match. 833-288-0973. Challenge Woods to our musical trivia contest here. 833-288-0973. So, yeah, Saturday, Manny hits a sharp, I think, like 2-hopper to Vientos at third base. And, as Manny tends to do, knowing that it's right at a guy, and also, he's got his hip flexor and he's not running well to begin with, he is not sprinting out of the box. Vientos drops it, it kind of rolls away from him for a second, but because Manny wasn't going hard, still gets him by about a step and a half at first base. It was, not the best look for Manny Machado to have a play that a lot of guys would have ended up beating out.
Haven't we seen that a million times, though? Like you just said it. As he tends to do when a ball is hit right at a guy. It didn't look any different to me.
I didn't think it was...
And then when you factor in the injury, like, look, Manny doesn't hit a lot of triples, but triples right now are doubles. A lot of doubles could be singles for him. He can't run.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the argument to that is then he shouldn't be playing. And,
right, and that's a fair argument.
Even if he was 100% healthy, there's a good chance that Manny still does the exact same thing, because Manny's equation, and you may disagree with it, is that if I hit that ball 100 times and I sprint out of the box 100 times, there may be once that the guy bobbles it or there's a throw that I end up getting on base one more time out of 100. But the toll that I take on my body by doing that for no reason 99 times is just not worth it. That my production will actually go down. My value to the team will go down if I put that much strain on my body. I will not be able to post. I will not be able to be out there the way that I am. You can totally disagree with that, but covering Manny and knowing Manny as well as we have, I'm pretty sure that's his mental equation, that I am more valuable to the team in holding a little bit back on 99 out of those 100 when it may cost me an on-base once in a while, but I will be out there and doing more damage for my team in the long run. You can be as mad about that as you want. You can disagree with it 100%. That's the calculus that goes on in Manny's brain, and I'm pretty sure that the Padres are also okay with that calculus that Manny has in his head when it comes to those plays.
People got they don't like the bubbles.
See, that would bother me if I had never seen it before.
He bubbles
on everything. He bubbles on diving plays. Like, that's the thing. People lose
Manny
their
also
minds.
is a very intelligent, savvy player, and he will hustle out. When he hits one like between second and third, knows it's going to be a tough play, he's out there running fast, knowing he can steal as fast as he can, knowing he can try to steal a base hit. I mean, like any ball player, he wants as many hits as possible
But again,
to get on base as much as possible. But
everything is, like I was talking about with the send and the non-send of Leaper, right? Like, everything when it's going poorly is the wrong decision. Everything. That decision by Manny, if Manny did that calculus in his head, that was the wrong decision because you're not performing. It's not going to be overlooked. And you have to eyewash it. You have to in that case. You have to eyewash that play. Even I think that the typical fan says to themselves, well, I'd rather him get hurt busting it down the line, which doesn't make sense. But when you see it, you want that eyewash too.
Which is fine. If you're a fan, you can think that way. Manuel says, stop making excuses for lazy Machado.
Nobody is.
I'm simply explaining, as I see it, the calculus that goes on in his mind and why it's okay with him and it's okay with the San Diego Padres with how he does it. Yep. Now, maybe that's totally wrong. Maybe other players should be more like Manny and, shouldn't be sprinting quite as much. I don't know which one's better or not, but he's decided that he is more productive and a better baseball player the way he does it. Now, ultimately, you want the best baseball player you can get for 162 games. And this is how Manny thinks that he does that for his team. He may be wrong, and the fans may be right. But I tend to think that a guy with as much baseball experience and who knows himself as well as Manny probably has more information on this than we do.
Nobody cares if he's 6 for 12 in the series, if he's blowing a bubble, if he's taking that. If you're performing, no one cares what you do. I saw Bryce Harper dogging on a ground ball the other day. 6-hopper to the second baseman, barely came in the frame. But they don't care. Why don't they care? You know why they don't care? Because the Phillies are rolling. The Phillies are beating the crap out of everybody, and he's having a good year. But so then you can hit a 6-hopper to the second baseman and dog it. You can. I saw Profar do it. Profar's carried this team. Nobody's going to say anything to Profar. It happens. Happens all the time. And so, I'm not making excuses for him at all. I thought it was a bad look. Certainly, I don't care that he blows bubbles. He always blows bubbles. His friggin' bobblehead is him blowing a bubble. Stop with the bubbles. You want to complain about something, complain about the production. You have every right to complain about his production. It's been terrible. Enough with the bubble bit, for Christ's sakes. Who cares? He does it when he gets a bomb. He does it when he strikes out. He does it when he makes a diving play. He does it when one rolls through his legs, which is rare. It's never going to stop.
Does anybody have gum? I'd like to see you blow some bubbles while playing Take on Woods.
I have some in the car. I have Big League Chew.
Got some.
Paul's got some. Let's see if you can blow bubbles.
It's so stupid.
And still win today's game of Take on Woods.
Get pissed.
Ready? Here we go. All right.
Get pissed. That's fine to get pissed.
Soften it up while our contestant goes, and we'll play.
I couldn't be any softer right now.
Right now. Let's go.
Talking about this team. Here.
All right, better have your thinking cap on, Woods. We got Guy on the line. He's a good player. Guy, welcome to Take on Woods. How are you?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
What's up, Guy?
Suffering along with you.
I know. All right, Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Good prize this month. Not only a 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, one of the newest resorts on the Strip. Also, your choice of tickets to Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins at the Blue Live Theater, and a $150 poolside dining credit, summer room packages and tickets available now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. So, your choices of category are It's Not False, which is, you'll figure out, but it's pretty simple. She's a Lady. Those are 5 song titles that start with she's. And Not for Nothing, nothing the key word in those answers. So It's Not False, She's a Lady, or Not for Nothing, Guy?
That's right, She's a Lady.
She's a Lady. All right, today I've got 5 song titles that start with she's, but not the Tom Jones classic that provides the name for our category. So I'll give you that as well. 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5. You go first. Woods goes second. You beat or tie him. We put you into the drawing for the grand prize. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play our music, and you need to give me the title and the artist. Guy, you ready to play?
Sure.
Paulie, you queued up for our 2-second song? Okay. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music in the category She's a Lady. Good luck, Guy. Let's take on Woods.
I'm so Cold by the Stones.
Correct. First released in 1973, which early hit for Daryl Hall and John Oates, dealt with the subject of divorce and loss.
She's a man-eater.
No, incorrect. Canada's Tal Bachman is best known for which 1999 hit that references Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Aphrodite?
Wait, say it again, please, Ben.
Canada's Tal Bachman is best known for which 1999 hit that references Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Aphrodite?
Pass.
Which song from The Stranger did Billy Joel write for his then ex-wife Elizabeth Weber?
She's always a woman to
Correct. Keyboard player Rod Argent wrote which 1964 debut hit for the Zombies that made it all the way to the Grammy Hall of Fame?
Pass.
Canada's Tal Bachman is best known for which 1999 hit that references Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Aphrodite? We only got two there, unfortunately. You got She's So Cold by the Stones and She's Always a Woman for Billy Joel. She's Gone is the Hall & Oates early hit. She's So High by Tal Bachman and She's Not There is the song by the Zombies. Real banger on that one. All right, let's bring Woods in. See how he does. All right, here comes Woods. Guy's score is locked in. Woods chewing his gum to see if he can blow bubbles and still win this game of Take on Woods.
The best to blow bubbles with.
That's fine. 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Guy.
It's the Rolling Stones. I'll come back to it. Pass.
First released in 1973, which early hit for Daryl Hall and John Oates dealt with the subject of divorce and loss.
Pass. God.
Canada's Tal Bachman is best known for which 1990...
She's So High.
Correct. Which song from The Stranger did Billy Joel write for his then ex-wife Elizabeth Weber?
She's Got Away.
Incorrect.
What?
Keyboard player Rod Argent wrote which 1964 debut hit for the Zombies that made it all the way to the Grammy Hall of Fame?
Time of the Season.
Go back to our 2-second song. That's
No.
incorrect.
God! It's the Stones. Category would help me, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm dead.
I haven't seen many bubbles yet.
Too busy filling my diaper. Again.
Wow.
Shut out, Paulie Friday, by the way. Shut out.
And it
First
loses
time ever.
2-1. Congratulations, Guy. How did you not get the Stones one? That was maybe the most stunning miss I've ever seen from you. I'm so hot for her. I'm so hot for her. I'm so hot for her. And she's so cold. By the Stones.
Settle down, Mick Jagger.
I thought
over there.
you were a Stones guy, though.
I am. I don't like that song.
It's
I never did.
She's
Okay.
Gone by Daryl Hall and John Oates. She's So High, which is you got that one.
I get
She's
the- I get the-
Always a Woman.
I get the Tal Bachman song.
That's the one you got. She's Always a Woman by Billy Joel, and She's Not There is the Zombies Grammy Hall of Famer. Wow. Guys, stay on the line. I
gotta go back in the lab.
Did
man.
not even...
One for my last
Send
10.
Woods down to AAA, maybe.
Bat me ninth.
DFA him. I don't know.
All right, maybe Manny should stop chewing gum and blowing bubbles.
Jesus
If that's the kind of performance dip that we can expect, that is a problem right there.
Man, this is terrible.
All right, we've got Don't Do This coming up next. I think...
Rory McIlroy.
Ooh, you want to get to U.S. Open talk?
More than
Don't
any of
do
that.
this? All right, we can do that. That's fine. Also, great piece over the weekend for Father's Day on our own Mud Grant. Oh, there's your bubble. Congratulations. You still lose. Let's check traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. Craft Taco is some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. Let me first congratulate Stephen Woods correctly predicting Bryson DeChambeau would win the U.S. Open and putting his money where his mouth is as well. You've got a season-long one-and-done pool that you're in. You're like second out of how many people right now?
Like 100.
Oh, wow.
It's so nerve-wracking. But it was with my other guy. I put $50 on Bryson on Thursday to win the whole thing at plus 2,000 odds. So your boy cleaned up a G yesterday.
That's 20 to 1.
Yep. Cleaned up a G yesterday. You want to talk about a nerve-wracking afternoon on Father's Day. Holy cow.
Well, even Bryson admitted, and this is the don't do this, even Bryson admitted, after Rory took a 2-shot lead, he had the, I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling.
We all did. Everybody.
He knew it. Rory was on. He was sinking putts. He was looking great. He sunk, over 100 feet worth of birdie putts, making birdies on, 4 or 5 holes from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, making that run right through, taking the lead. And it was his tournament to win.
He had 4 holes, man. He had 4 holes. He had 15, 16, 17, 18.
And as it turned out, had he just parred those holes, had he just bogeyed only one of them, he would have won the U.S. Open, ending a decade-long major title drought, answering a lot of questions, putting a lot of the negativity of the last few years and the inability to get it done in the rearview mirror. He was ready to turn the page and write a new script. And then he got to the 15th, which, you know what, that's Pinehurst. He had a pretty good shot, and it just bounced and rolled through the green. Hit it a little too well. I'm never gonna criticize a golfer who just hit one a little too well and it carried a little too far, put him in a bad spot, ended up with a bogey. Fine. All he had to do was par the last 3 holes. On 16, he puts it on the green, gets it within 3 feet,
2.5,
2 feet 11 inches.
Yeah.
And if you're not a golfer and you look at a 2-foot 11-inch putt, you can definitely miss those. When you're a pro, though,
he had made 496 of 496 from that distance.
It was
496 from 496.
It was the shortest putt he has missed all year long.
Yeah, in the biggest moment.
And yes, the greens are fast and the pressure is there, but that's a choke. When you don't make that putt, there's something in your brain. There's some nerves, obviously, that take over. I think he hit it a little hard. Just had the old, let's see if I can just jam this in the back.
Whoa.
And of the hole.
All right. That didn't make it much better. Wasn't.
And hit the side of the cup.
Sorry.
Lipped it out. There goes the lead. But he still could get into a playoff. Gets up and down for par on 17, comes to 18, puts it in the native area, has to punch it right in front of the green, hits a really good chip to about 3.5 feet, but it was above the hole. And this time he did the opposite, like we all do. You make one mistake, hit one too hard, what do you do on the next one?
You
hit it too soft,
Yep.
It took too much of the break, hit the bottom lip, and missed another short putt that put him one stroke behind Bryson. And yet still, he wasn't done.
No.
He had to make that agonizing wait then. Sign your scorecard, sit there and watch Bryson need to par the last hole to win the U.S. Open and take it from you. What does Bryson do? He absolutely yanks his drive to the left under a tree.
Behind a root.
Can barely get a club on it. Punches it into the toughest bunker at Pinehurst. The one that no one has gotten up and down out of all week long. And if you play golf, you know. There's a lot of hard shots in golf. But the hardest shot, even pros will acknowledge, is the 50 to 70-yard bunker shot.
Oh, yeah.
It's too long to just do the old blast it out and run it onto the green, but it's too short to do the full just pick it clean shot. You gotta hit it absolutely perfectly. And any error, you chunk it a little bit too much behind, you end up 20 yards short.
Or you hit the top of the lip.
You hit the top of the lip. Or you catch too much ball, you skull it 15, 20 yards over the green.
And you ain't making par.
Into the clubhouse, which is right behind the green. When I played it last year, I was terrified I was going to hit it into the clubhouse and break a window. And Bryson said, it's not a thought you don't want to have as you're walking in there, but he absolutely
4 feet.
Nailed it to 4 feet.
Makes the putt, and your boy was running around the house screaming. A Father's Day miracle indeed. But the don't do this, man, is Right after it happens, you get in your car and you drive away. And you do not address the media at all. Now, I understand that Rory was the mouthpiece for the PGA throughout the LIV deal. I know that Bryson's a part of LIV. But, man, when Bryson lost by a stroke to Xander Schauffele at the
PGA Championship last month, yeah.
Who was the first guy there to dap him up and say, great job? Bryson DeChambeau was. After losing by a stroke, Rory gets in his car, spins the tires, peels out of the parking lot, doesn't stand there and wear it like Norman did, like Van de Velde did, like all the guys that have choked the U.S. Open away. Rory McIlroy cannot be bothered to go face the media. And I get it, man. I'd be really pissed too. But knowing the history of that tournament, knowing how many guys have done that and sat there and wore it, and not even to congratulate your opponent is ridiculous.
I think more than a bad look for Rory, it's a missed opportunity.
100%.
Because Rory can be a stand-up guy. He could have owned it. You know, there's nothing else to say other than I blew it. What was Phil? When Phil blew it on the 18th hole at Winged Foot at the U.S. Open, what was his quote? I am such a stupid.
Yeah, I'm such a stupid.
I'm such a stupid. And Rory could have had a decent moment like that to own it there. Instead, he peeled out. Perloff, who has the show before us as I'm driving it, has a great line. Well, at least he didn't run over a cop on his way out and get arrested.
He was driving a little recklessly, spinning those tires out of the parking lot.
That was pretty good.
And I like Rory well enough, but
I used to not like Bryson DeChambeau. I like him a lot better now.
I said it 3 weeks ago. I go,
like him
is he likable now? He was great.
He's
man.
definitely made some changes.
He's been great.
And you know what I miss? Now I'm mad.
I'm mad too.
That he's not on the PGA Tour. Because I still don't want to watch LIV. It doesn't,
do anything
even him
me.
competing against who? You know, most of those LIV guys didn't do anything in this
He's
tournament
the
either.
only one.
He's really he has
Brooks, not taken his foot off the gas.
Brooks was for a while, and now Brooks has kind of gone back and is struggling again a bit. And now Bryson's the guy. But why do I want to watch Bryson play against a bunch of either has-beens or never will-be's
or
on a
guys
tour?
that have stopped caring?
I want to see him playing against Rory again.
Yeah,
I want to see him this week at the elevated event. I want to see more Bryson. And LIV has taken that away from us.
Yep.
And it's frustrating, actually.
Yep.
Because I still don't want to watch LIV. It's not a good product.
It's not a good golf product, man. It's
but
just
Bryson
not.
is a good golf product, and I would like to see more of Bryson.
Rory's got to. He's got to talk to the media, man. He just has to. He has to. So many guys have done it. And he's going to regret that one, I think. I mean, sitting on a pile of $1 billion, he's going to regret it. But you know what I'm saying.
All right, let's get right to do this because we're a little low on time.
Mega doo-doo.
What a great story that came out yesterday, written by Sean O'Neill, who's filled in. He's covered the Padres in the past for the North County Times. He's now kind of the backup to AJ Cassavell at MLB.com covering the Padres, writing about Mark Grant and his relationship with his autistic son, Aiden, who's in his 20s, and he's going to be, living at home with his parents, but the time every morning that he takes and the drive to their, the day center where Aiden spends a lot of his time during the day, and what a joy, but also a challenge it is to be a parent of a special needs child. And remember, special needs children become special needs adults. And that's a lifelong commitment, and Mudd embraces it with such a good attitude, as you can expect. Paul, you got a couple of clips from here?
There was one part that it made me laugh, and it's Mark Grant to a T, talking about the 20-minute drive that him and Aiden make every day from Alpine to El Cajon, where he has his day center. And it says, though Aiden doesn't communicate in sentences nor enunciate words fully, the Grant family understands him, so the commute has its own routine. He'll ask me questions, Grant said, and I've got to repeat the right answers. We pass landmarks, and he'll call them out. Go past McDonald's, and he goes, "Donald's." This is when Grant, the baseball prankster, kicks in. I say, "McDonald's stinks," Grant said. And he'll start laughing, so I get a kick out of that.
Levity is what they talk about the most, and you hear it on the broadcasts when you watch the San Diego Padres, the levity that Mudd provides, and he's very well equipped to do it. I'm sure Mudd sometimes watches a baseball game, and he's like, it's just baseball, right? Like the things that I've got going on at home. It is a really good perspective for all of us, and Mudd is truly a gem. One, they broke the mold when they made Mudd Grant, certainly.
It's good to know that the TV persona is the real Mud too.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Him breaking
He's
his
funny.
him breaking his kid's
Yeah.
balls and telling him McDonald's stinks. Kid starts laughing.
It's so great.
I love that, man.
And that's a
we love you, Mudley.
Don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Giant, and I mean giant, missed opportunity for your San Diego Padres over this weekend. We'll continue our discussion, get a little bit into Friday night's game, which was a great performance by Matt Waldron. Didn't turn into a victory, though, when we come back with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Don't forget to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for the 97.3 The Fan commercial-free Padres Roundtable, featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. And it was last Thursday's Roundtable as things were being discussed in a fairly positive manner after a sweep of the A's. Do you remember what I said right at the very end? I said, we'll be back next Thursday.
Yes.
And everything will be completely different.
Correct.
Again, because that's how this team has gone all season long.
Yeah.
And that's the one right thing that maybe I've said all year about the San Diego Padres. That I know, like the weather in other parts of the country, wait a few minutes and it's going to change. So if you want to take some solace, and as ugly as this last 3 games have been against the New York Mets, wait a couple of minutes and it'll probably change again for the San Diego Padres, because the only thing consistent about the Padres in 2024 been their lack of consistency.
Correct. And not just 2024. Back to last season as well. It's been, again, this is where we differ. They've been remarkably consistent. In fact, so effing consistent that it drives
the most consistent team,
the most consistent team in baseball, period. 173 and 173 over the last 346 is the definition of consistent. Definition.
Is it or isn't?
It is.
Isn't it a team that consistently either wins or loses more consistent than...
That's every
That's
team.
consistent.
That's consistent. Still consistent.
I don't know, but being 500 is the opposite of consistent.
If I miss every 3-foot putt,
then you're consistent.
I'm very consistent.
But the Padres don't do that. They make half their 3-foot putts.
They
miss half their 3-foot putts. They're not consistent.
They are consistent in that their record is 500.
They're mediocre, but inconsistent.
Okay, that's fine. We're splitting hairs here.
A little bit.
To say that at the end of the day,
there are teams that are more consistently bad, and there are teams that are more consistently good. And the Padres are neither of those teams.
Yeah, you're right.
You'd be wrong if you said they're consistently bad. They're not.
They're just mid.
No, they play well too often enough to be consistently bad. But they're not good because they don't play well enough consistently to be good. But they did miss a huge opportunity. We will talk about that and Friday's game right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Well, guys, for the most part, folks are doing a pretty good job of staying out of trouble on our roads. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a bumper in middle lanes to watch out for, though, on the northbound 15 right before the 8. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Purchase a grill this week, and your first cookout is free, courtesy of Omaha Steaks. That's a dozen free burgers and a dozen free franks. The grilling store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware, where service still matters. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Friday's game was at least one of the more typical of your San Diego Padres losses. Good pitching performance from Matt Waldron. Had some opportunities to score runs, but managed only the one on the Jackson Merrill solo home run off Sean Manaea. Went 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position and ended up losing 2-1 to the New York Mets. At the time, I was frustrated, but I didn't feel like it was a sign of impending doom or that this team was all of a sudden hitting the skids. It was simply, that's unfortunate. They wasted a really good pitching performance against a guy they should have beaten. Didn't come through, didn't hit well, but that lefty struggles thing pops up again. And JD Martinez, he had that walk-off home run the day before the Padres series started. He continued and tormented the Padres throughout the series, especially on Friday and Saturday, driving in nearly every run in their first 2 wins of the series. So you knew he was dangerous. You let him beat you. Just 3 hits allowed by Matt Waldron. Of course, 2 of them came in that same inning when they scored their 2 runs. They just timed things better than the Padres did in that game on Friday, but I wasn't particularly concerned.
I was concerned. The reason I was concerned is knowing who you've got on the bump the next day.
True.
That's the one
we didn't really talk about that much. Major, ended up only giving up 2 runs. You can't walk 6 batters and be a big leaguer.
You can't.
And he needs to go back to the minor leagues.
He's averaging how many walks per outing?
4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, it just can't.
He's not. It's not like, well, at least he went 8 innings when he walked those guys. No, he's going 3 to 5 innings and he's walking 4 to 6 batters. He has to go back to the minor leagues. I'm sorry.
There's no question.
I'm not saying that he's not still a top prospect. He has some. He threw a 97 mile an hour fastball past Pete Alonso, and I go, there's something in there.
Yeah.
But it's not ready to be a big leaguer yet.
It's not the command just is not
He
there.
looks nervous. He just doesn't look like he's comfortable yet in the big leagues, and that's not an
Not
indictment
uncommon.
on
And it's
Adam
not
Major
uncommon at all.
Exactly, but he's got to go back to the minor leagues.
Yeah,
And
that's the tough one for me is when you continue to spoil some brilliant pitching. The Michael King start, I know they bailed him out later with a walk-off, but Mike, you got your pitchers going out there, and you talked earlier about marrying the two together, the hitting and the again, Sean Manaea was 0-2 with a 10.36 in June. He was on the skids, man. He was on the skids, and you managed to eke out 5 hits, 2 singles from Arise, 2 singles from Profar, and a home run from Jackson Merrill to score 1 run against the lowly New York Mets and let 7 innings of 3-hit baseball go by the wayside from Matt Waldron, who, by the way, is the ace of this staff right now. The ace. He's your number 1 pitcher.
No lies detected. in
Not
that
one
statement.
lie detected. He is your number 1 starter.
Which is
staggering.
staggering.
And an indictment.
And I don't mean that as a slight
no
at
disrespect to Matt Waldron
But
whatsoever.
If we went back 3 months ago, getting ready for spring training, and I said,
That's
Matt
your
Waldron,
ace.
he's going to be your ace
Just
in
say
June.
we're dead. We're dead. You would say we're dead. And again, it's not an indictment of him. He's doing his job.
He's doing more than his job.
Well, way more than his job.
He's a 5th starter.
He's the biggest bargain on this team right now, other than maybe Jerks and Profar. But Jerks and Profar is only here for a year. Matt Waldron's here for many more years. So it's just a lack of I don't want to say want to. It's just a lack of, I don't know what the hell it is, to be honest. We've been banging my head against the wall. But you got to figure out left-handed pitching. You get 2 more in this series, by the way, against the Phillies. You got 2 more coming at you. So it doesn't get any easier for you. And just spoiling good pitching performance after good pitching performance. Again, knowing who's on the bump the next day, knowing it could be a little bit rocky, that's the one you got to come out and win. You have to. And you didn't. You lost 2-1.
So here's the real missed opportunity, and the show that I would have loved to have been doing this morning instead. Had the Padres won the series or swept the series from the Mets, they'd be 3 or 5 games above 500, and they'd be about 5 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers,
Which is insane.
who would then also be without Mookie Betts now,
And
who broke his
Yamamoto.
wrist yesterday. Yamamoto going on the injured list with a rotator cuff injury.
Blood in the water.
And guess what? The national media would be going, the Dodgers are now vulnerable. Here come the Padres. Look at what we have here. Maybe even a race in the National League West. That would be the narrative this morning had the Padres simply taken care of business against a team that even a Mets fan in Italian Paul last week said they will have no problem taking care of this Mets team. No problem. And instead they get swept. And
He reversed psychology at all of us.
it would be laughable to discuss the Padres making a run at the Dodgers, even though the Dodgers truly are in a world of hurt right now with their injuries and the lack of performance they've gotten from the bottom part of their order. They've been nowhere near the team they thought they were going to be. No one in the National League West is threatening them.
They have such
Padres are still ahead of the Giants and Diamondbacks.
Right.
What does that say about the Giants and the Diamondbacks?
What does that say about the NL West? It's garbage, and no one is running away with it right now. I mean, no one is. I mean, what's their cushion? 8 games?
8 games.
8-game cushion. So, yeah, man, you have really, really shot yourself in the foot over and over and over. You wonder if you have any toes left at this point. And again, like I said, it doesn't get any easier. You go face the Phillies, you got 2 nasty lefties, and the righty you're facing, is it Nola?
That's a good question. I know you got
Is it Nola?
Suarez
Nola.
and
Killer.
Sanchez, Nola, Suarez.
Nola got lit up his last time out, but he always owns the Padres.
Yeah. We'll be talking
I mean,
about
other than his brother who had that game-winning hit against him that one time, but otherwise, he owns the Padres. Suarez owned the Padres the last time they faced him, and he's been fantastic this season.
Is it? Could I just skip these games?
But
you guys got it.
But
I don't wanna watch
it's just the
these.
Padres. Are we going to be that stunned if they all of a
it's
sudden
left-
look good again?
Yes, it's left-handed pitchers. That's the one that will not go away right now. And until they figure it out, I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do. It's clearly in their heads. Clearly. Oh, lefty on the bump, we're toast. I just don't know how you fix it.
This really could have been a nightmare season for the LA Dodgers.
It really could have been.
And it's not just the Padres. I mean, if the Diamondbacks had, continued from their World Series and the players they added and gotten off to a fast start, or if the Giants with their investments in the offseason, if Snell was pitching like an ace and Jung-Ho Lee came and stayed healthy and was doing good things for them, the Giants could be making a run, and the Dodgers could find themselves easily in third, fourth place, and going like, what is happening to us? And the rest of the NL West is completely left a really underachieving Dodgers team off the hook.
100% with an 8-game cushion.
Overpaid and underachieving, and now injury-riddled Dodgers team that's going to require Shohei Ohtani to do a lot of heavy lifting coming up. And Ohtani did hit 2 home runs yesterday. He had been slumping in June. Maybe he's coming out of it just at the right time. They always seem to have better timing than everybody else.
Yes.
Just when they need him, he's starting to jump and, hits a couple of home runs again. So, missed opportunity for your San Diego Padres over the weekend. I want to know why I was greeted by a film crew as I arrived to work this morning. We'll talk about that as we reset. Ben and Woods coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great, awesome to be here with you this morning. Trying to be more positive in my daily life, with my kids and stuff. Just be more positive in general. I can be a bit of a hard ass at home, and I'm trying to just be like, "Hey, Slugger, how's your day?" It's not working. Made Bo take out the garbage last night, and you would have thought that I told him that he needed to lift a car off of someone. I mean, I hate it so much. I'm like, dude, come on. Got to put him to work, man. Got to teach him the work ethic. And it's not working so far. So I'm trying to be a little more positive at home. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor.
Good morning. Sometimes you try to bring that attitude to work as well. Maybe when it's not working as well at home, to really, you want to get, intense about things.
Yeah.
But Paul and I just kind of look at each other and roll our eyes.
When I get intense?
When you just kind of, you try to be a little more forceful, maybe in your
like how?
In your direction.
Give me an example.
Just sometimes you come in and you feel like things aren't going the right direction when really they haven't changed that much in the last few years, but you feel like, oh, we're in a rut, or we need to change things up, or we need to come up with a new bit, or we need to rework the show or change things. And we'll nod and we'll do that. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys
100% right.
F me to death.
And then we'll look and go, what got
sure.
into him today? What's wrong with Woods?
I don't bring my work issues or my home issues here. Like if I'm fighting with Hannah or something, you're going to get the same person that you would have
Do you bring your work issues home?
Yeah.
What work issues do you have?
time.
That was a trick question. You don't have any work issues.
Yes,
you
I do.
work with two incredible colleagues. You've had an amazing run of success. We got a great building here. We got a great team. You don't have any work issues.
They're all internal, buddy. There's nothing to do with you. They're all internal work issues with my own.
We got a contract. We're good. We're good. No work issues here.
It's the creative rut that gets you sometimes, and that's how I feel. And so, yeah, I do take that home, and I vent at home like I'm an idiot. This is terrible. Well, and you read enough online that you're an idiot. You start to believe it after a while. So, but no, I'm trying to be more positive. And all right, what's with the watch?
People just want to see it on the chat.
It's insane.
I don't have to talk about it on the radio, but just I got a request on the chat to see the custom watch. That's one of the prizes for our golf tournament from Nixon. So I'm wearing it as a model today. I'm like, one of Barker's beauties, and I am.
You're exactly like one of Barker's beauties.
I'm showing off the watch to just drum up a little interest because you can come in, enter the raffle, and
you don't even have to be
come
playing.
to the tournament, win one of these incredible Nixon watches, customized, Ben & Woods. 3rd annual Chrome Tour Ben & Woods Open. It's coming up on Wednesday.
Adam says,
try not to be distracted so much.
Adam says, work issues. Still bitter about getting sunburned at spring training. I am bitter about that. I am bitter about a lot of things, but I'm trying to be more positive. I'm trying to be less of a hard ass at home.
Well, you came up with a new bit this morning, apparently.
Did I?
Yeah, surprised me on my way in, remember?
Oh, yeah. This was a good bit. And if you guys have noticed, we got a text from Adam over the weekend. He says, hey, is Stephen A. Smith now part of the, what did he call it? Like the
what are they wearing?
The what are they wearing as he walks into the arena
You
bit?
see it with every star
All the
athlete.
players? Yeah.
When they're walking into the tunnel, on their way to the locker room, the clubhouse, whatever.
Even like Luka in a polo shirt just showing up.
Yeah, some dumpy khakis and like flip-flops on. Now I'll say this, man. Remember, I don't know if they do it anymore. They don't do it this year, right, with the Padres? I loved it. I loved when they were by the buses and the guys were coming out for a road trip. And, Jake's always got his coffee cup. They used to have Paddock walking out.
They still do some of the questions of the day.
Not that stuff.
Things.
The stuff where they're walking to get on the bus to get on the plane, and they're all
see them
dapper.
coming in. It's just not really
You see
going
him
out.
coming in. That's right. You see him coming in for question of the day. Paddock walking out to the thing with his big-ass buckle
yeah.
and cowboy hat on, looking like a
The problem
goober.
is when you're not playing well, everyone looks at that and goes, "Oh,
We don't want to see this.
yeah. How about you win some games first
That's me.
before you show some swag?"
That's the incredible boomer.
Yeah.
How many bits are just waiting in the
Waiting
win
for like 6 wins in a row. I know, man. It's got to be tough. It's a thankless job for the social media
How about,
team.
you remember last year they had the Piñata Fest for like, I don't know, 3 games. Like started in Mexico City in April. They won a couple of
that's right.
They won a couple of big games when they got back to San Diego. And you saw the videos going around in the clubhouse. They're breaking the piñatas. Nelson Cruz leading it. And we thought, we can admit it now on the Ben and Woods show. We went out and bought a piñata.
We did.
And we were going to do a bit.
Yeah.
After a good show, we were all going to break a piñata and do a dance just like the Padres did.
Yeah, I don't think they ever won another
They
game.
never won more than 2 games in a row after that. We said, dump the piñata. Dump it.
I think it's sitting in a closet here somewhere. Adam probably took it to his kid's birthday party, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, you saw what the Mets' new bit is. They had the
grimace
throw out the first pitch, and they haven't
5-0.
lost since.
God.
Padres apparently are the victim of grimace.
They got
grimaced.
Yeah, but so Stephen A. Smith is now, they have him walking into the arena, sunglasses on, suited, booted, and people are like, why are you in there?
He's got
What is happening?
paparazzi,
Yes.
media.
I mean, I get that he's a big star,
I don't
but
blame.
like,
Stephen A. Smith has to dress up and has to arrive at the game. So at that point, I am not faulting him for arriving and walking
he's on
into the
television.
game.
He's got to look good.
You know, he's not filming himself. Other people are doing it.
Yes.
What I can fault him for, though, is the way he walks into the game. And that is, he is walking with a strut that he feels like he should be filmed as he's walking into the game. When that, I don't know, is the truth.
So we decided to film Ben as he was walking into work this morning.
I mean, it's identical.
Listen, though, if you're listening, there's also some audio. That's Wood slamming into the door, straight backing into the,
I severed my...
I need to get
like
back
the
in.
sharp end of the open door.
I severed my spine, just so you know, for that bit.
Woods just backs right into an open...
Oh! It hurts so bad. I was the guy in front, backing up as Ben was walking in. Paulie's filming both of us, and then bam, I hit the back of the door, severed my spine. Yeah, look at Ben.
I should have
in.
put on my pink suit like
Look at
Stephen
him!
A. did.
Look at him
but-
strut, dude.
Me or Stephen A?
Him. He thinks he's on the team.
It's the walk that
It's
gets
the
me.
walk. It murders me. By the way, I did not know that door was there. It did hurt like a madman. I was not expecting it to jump out of nowhere. But listen, you know,
Stephen A. is walking like he's about to drop 40 tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
And someone watermarked the ESPN logo like right in the middle of the screen as well, because what? You want to make sure if people meme this up that they're getting their proper credit. Right. So Paulie did the same thing and put our Ben Woods logo watermark right there on the screen.
And it's a good segue, Paulie, because you mentioned the piñata. And yeah, we were like, oh, cool. If they go on some streak, we'll break a piñata and we'll just do a bit. We're a morning show. We like to have fun. We like to do bits and have fun with them. And one in particular has come back to bite us in the ass, and we just got a tweet about it 30 seconds ago from Schultz Amusement Park, which is great. Worst thing to ever happen to the Ben and Woods program. It was us doing the friendship contract with Manny. They'll never hold him to the standard he should be. And I thought to myself, well, the worst thing that ever happened to us is when our radio station was unplugged and we didn't have a job. So a 30-second bit.
Second worst thing would probably be the pandemic.
Pandemic was pretty rough.
Home broadcasts for 4 hours a day with literally no sports.
Yeah, a 30-second bit is not going to define us. And it's like I said to him. I said, look, you're taking a 30-second bit, you're blowing it out of proportion. Manny's been terrible this season. He wasn't that good last season. And he's got to play better for this team to go anywhere. But bits are bits.
I
That's all it was.
love the Manny friendship contract.
And guess what? He did too when we did it.
Well, I still love
Him.
it. I don't mind. I mean, I think it's a good thing for our
was.
show.
It
It's
was
one of the best
funny.
things.
It was just a funny
now,
thing.
Manny hasn't played well since the friendship contract.
Maybe
he may be the one
he
who
may be
regrets
the
it.
one.
But I have no regrets at all. I think Manny is still a very cool dude and someone that I'm going to keep rooting for. I think that the disconnect is, of course, he is not producing. He needs to be better. I don't know if he is or not, but he's not beyond criticism.
Correct. No, he's not. He's absolutely
been terrible this year.
Absolutely deserving.
He's been terrible this year.
Corey
and
says
if he doesn't get better, it's a bad situation. But they can't do anything about it. They're not going to trade him. You've got to keep playing him at this point.
Yeah.
I think the disconnect is people then think because he's not performing that he's a bad guy or he doesn't care
Right.
or he doesn't work hard. None of those are true. So I'm not going to criticize Manny for things that aren't true. I think Manny absolutely is a smart ball player, cares about his team, wants to perform
Cares
well.
about San Diego.
I don't think the contract changed him at all. Didn't change him the first time he signed a $300 million contract. I don't think it changed him the second time he signed an over $300 million contract. He's not been playing well. He has been hurt. That is part of the factor as well. But that doesn't mean he's a bad guy or someone that is not worth cheering for as a player, as a fan. He's still Manny Machado.
And
he's just not getting the job done.
It doesn't absolve him of poor play. It doesn't absolve him of a 1-for-12 series against the Mets at all. It's terrible, man. Terrible. I had a chance to come through on Friday night. Didn't do it. Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz laid one in there. Manny shook his head like it was a ball. It wasn't a ball. It was a strike. So I just listen. I ride with all these guys, though, man. I really do. There's not one over the other. I happen to love Manny. I think he's probably my favorite baseball player of all time. So it's tough, man. It's tough to watch your guys struggle that you like. Doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize him. He's been terrible. And he knows it.
We're also pretty close with Jake Cronenworth. He's had a good season.
Right.
If he takes a turn for the worse, though, he's not above criticism either.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that the fact that we can respect ball players for who they are and, how they treat people and how they work is different than our criticism of players for being ineffective for not coming through.
Look, some of the stuff I saw on Twitter this weekend was gnarly. It was gnarly. Like, it was, I don't even want to repeat it, give them any attention or oxygen, but some stuff that you saw and you went, Jesus, man, like we have really, sports has become really toxic. It's tough to navigate that toxic environment sometimes. So, it's tough. It's tough. But no, Corey asked if we could void the friendship contract. You can void it. That's fine. He doesn't care. Trust me. He couldn't care less. He'll be fine. Right? So we can put Manny Machado he's out of the circle of friends.
Really?
Yeah, he's out.
Okay.
You can earn your way back
if it helps him, then I would do anything for him.
All right, yeah. If that's going to help him.
And if abandoning our friendship is what turns him around, then I'm all for that. It's not going to change.
I think you're giving ourselves a lot of credit.
It's not going to change what I say about Manny Machado.
Correct.
I don't say nicer things because he signed a friendship contract.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. You think Ben gives a frog's fat ass about that autograph over there? That's changed Ben's perspective? None. Couldn't care less. So,
not at all.
Again, man, like he had a crap series, he had a crap year, he's had a crap year and a half. He's got to play better. It's just I root for all these dudes. I root for Higgy. I root for Cease. I root for Vasquez. I root for Yuki. They have all faltered and failed this year, all of them. So
I guess for me, and it's a little bit more bigger picture, the people that are sick and tired of Manny Machado, and it seems like there's a handful of people out there that just want him gone. That's not happening.
It's not going to happen. It's a fool's errand.
We've talked about it like with Xander. A lot of people were like ready to just cut him, DFA him, get rid of him. That's also not happening. These guys are here for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tell anybody how to fan. Nothing you say
You're
on social media
crazy.
is going to change the fact that both of those guys are here for the next 10 years.
You're driving yourself crazy.
You kind of have to just find a way to find peace with it. Otherwise, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're going to be miserable for the next 10 years. It's going to be a long decade.
All right, so I had one. I was playing golf this weekend, and a Padres fan brought up a scenario to me that he thought could save the franchise, and I'm going to let you know what this person said to me, and then give you my reaction, what I told him on the golf course on Saturday morning about why he was 100% wrong. I know some of you will agree with him, though. We'll get to that coming up next. We're also going to give away some tickets to The best band of all time, Woods. The Doobie Brothers.
That's a stretch, I think. if you
Maybe
say that. Yeah.
maybe a stretch. Maybe a personal opinion more than a fact. But in my opinion, definitely the greats. The Doobies coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Got Sam Levitt coming up at the bottom of the hour, and then Matt Strahm of the Philadelphia Phillies, formerly of the San Diego Padres, having a terrific season, is going to join us at 9:15 ahead of today's series opener from Citizens Bank Park. Welcome back. Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. So I was playing golf on Saturday at the Goat, and a Padres fan said, here's what the team needs to do. Okay. What do you think? Got these bad contracts. They need to get out from under.
Bunt drills.
No, it was not bunt drills. He said, you got one of the top prospects in the game in Ethan Salas. You need to offer Ethan Salas up, but the team that takes him has to also take, I think he said Xander Bogaerts' contract. Entire thing. You know what I said? What do you get back? Nothing. You just use Ethan Salas to shed yourself of the mistake of signing Xander Bogaerts. And then, you'll be out from under that deal and you'll have some flexibility going forward. And there was a couple other people and they kind of nodded and I go, that doesn't work. First of all, it doesn't make your team better. It makes your team worse. Multiple ways. Because you're giving up one of your more valuable commodities in the minor leagues, maybe the most valuable commodity you have right now in the minor leagues, in order not to make your team better, but simply to save money over the next 10 years. So how is that going to improve your team? Now, is it possible that if you reinvested that money in other players who performed better, you could improve at some point? Sure. But there's no guarantee that you're going to then go out and spend that money on the right players. And then also, don't forget, Xander Bogaerts, as well as Manny Machado, has a full no-trade clause. Correct. So unless they want to go to wherever you're sending them, and there's no indication that either of them wants to leave. I mean, Manny's got a house here, just had a baby. He's not going to want to go anywhere.
Soccer team.
He's here. Yeah, he owns a soccer team here. Good point. Not going anywhere. So don't bring up trade possibilities or what the Padres can do. Live in our real world that features likely both of those players on the team for at least the next half decade and probably the full lengths of those contracts. You need to find whatever you can do to get those guys performing as well as possible. Yeah. Whether it's health or whatever you have to do strategically, analysis, whatever. The only path to success for the San Diego Padres really is getting those guys playing at a better level. Do they have to be MVPs every year? No.
No, but
they have to be way better than they've been so far.
No doubt. And that really is the only path. I mean, there's no question. That's the only path to this team doing anything. And you can bring up, three more Jackson Merrills. You can bring up, you can develop guys that turn into Dylan Cease or whoever else, Yu Darvish in his prime, whatever. Those guys got to perform. Those are two pieces in your infield, Benny, that are cornerstones. And if they perform, we have a shot. If they don't, we don't. It's pretty simple. Yeah,
agree for the most part.
I mean,
you can overcome one of them having an off season or off half season for a while.
But with Tatis and Manny and Xander, those are the guys that need to pull the lion's share of the weight. And right now, this series notwithstanding, it's only been Tatis this season, and even, he's had his ups and downs as well, but we've actually at least seen flashes of who Fernando Tatis Jr. can be. Rough series in New York. Rough series.
I mean, look at the Atlanta Braves. They looked completely bulletproof in terms, at least in the regular season, with the amount of talent and offense that they had. And now another Acuna injury and some guys who are not performing up to expectations, they're struggling. I mean, yes, they are still first in the wild card race, but they're only, 3 games ahead of the Padres at this point. The Padres, who you all out there think are one of the worst teams in baseball. The Atlanta Braves, who most people say, but they're one of the better teams. 3 games difference, right, between the Padres and the Braves or whatever it is right now. I mean,
that's the dumbest
part.
They're
struggling too.
That's the dumbest part about all of this.
You struggle when your good players don't perform.
Correct, but the dumbest part about all of this is that we're fine in the playoff for now. I mean, we're still in it.
They are.
We're
the
absolutely
Padres
still
are
in it, which is absurd.
Last playoff team in the National League at the moment.
What I text you guys, they're gonna finish 82-80.
82-80.
That's who this team is.
82-80 kind of looks like a dream right now, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, but we've said they are a 500 team, 81-81, 82-80. They'll back into the playoffs. Probably lose 2 out of their last 3 and just somehow get into the playoffs. and then
See what happens.
get bodied by the Phillies.
No, I mean, you see what happens. I mean, you get in. I mean, it's one of those things, though. At the end of the year, we have to remember, if they get into the playoffs at 82 and 80 because of a very weak National League, they're going to beat their chests about making the playoffs. We can't let them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go in and lose in the first round, well, hey, we made the playoffs. I know that's the goal, to get in and see what happens, get to the dance and all that, but man, it just, again, I'm
82 and 80, you got to make the NLCS at least for that to be a
I'm just going to
chest-beating.
keep harping on Chris Ello's tweet. 173 and 173 in your previous 346. 173 and 173 in your previous 346. That's what needs to be looked at. That's what needs to be addressed. That's what needs to be remedied, whatever. That's not the mark of a good team. That's not the mark of a team that you feel like can get in the playoffs and do some damage. Now, again, it's kooky. It's weird. You never know. But, to getting into the playoffs would be great. It's fantastic. Playoff baseball, there's nothing like it. But you can't be like, well, we made the playoffs and we're obviously on the right track. No, man, the whole NL is a turd right now.
Brady makes a good point. He says the Braves aren't getting swept by bottom-tier teams.
Correct.
So that is correct.
Correct.
They did recently lose 3 of 4 to a pretty bad team, though.
Us. Yeah, us.
And they also lost 3 or 4 to the Washington Nationals.
But the Nationals,
who also have the exact same record as the San Diego Padres, 1 game below
crazy.
500.
It's crazy.
So, and they're not exactly kings of the world right now in Atlanta either.
It's a stupid sport.
Yeah, it really is.
So if your top stars don't perform, ask the Yankees a couple years ago. Now their top stars are performing insanely, and guess where they are? They're having a great season. But when they weren't, when Stanton was not healthy, when Judge was hurt, into the crapper that went the New York Yankees. But now that they're performing, I did.
Wow, spicy. Spicy,
I
man.
was a little spicy.
That
I almost
was
said
spicy.
toilet, and I thought Woods is going to make fun of me.
Yeah.
So let's just be spicy this morning. I'm wearing my Do the Show Midge T-shirt. It's Bad Boy Ben.
Bad Boy Ben is here.
It's here today.
Is that Marlboros rolled up in your sleeve there? What is that? Unfiltered? Unfiltered Camels? Look at this
You
guy.
actually get them to stay, or they fall out.
He's got a barbed wire tattoo around his arm now. Wow. All right.
No one's spicier than Sam Levitt, our Padres pre- and post-game show host.
We just got been through the battles, man.
We will check in with Sammy when we come back. Oh, first, though, I've got to give away those Doobie tickets. Bad Boy Ben keeps the tickets for himself, but I'm going to give them away. A pair of tickets to the Doobie Brothers. We should have just had that as our sounder to call in to win. No, now's the time calling.
We got them all week. Maybe we'll
Fourth
do that.
caller, all right. 833-288-0973. Fourth caller wins the concert, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on June 25th. Limited tickets remain at Ticketmaster.com. Good luck. First chance this week to win Doobie Brothers tickets, and then back with Sam Levitt next year on 97.3 The Fan. All right, congratulations to Julie. Won the Doobie Brothers tickets. I think we'll just say it now. Listen all week long for the sounder to win. And I'll remind you every day, but it's me singing What a Fool Believes. And when you hear that, call in and we'll have more tickets to give away.
What a fool believes.
There's your sounder for the rest of the week for Doobie Brothers
That's it.
tickets.
That's all you need to hear.
That's all you need to hear.
The rest of the week.
Keep a note. Make sure our number's programmed into your phone so you can instantly go right to it. Speed dial us, 833-288-0973, to win those Doobie Brothers tickets. All right, we got Sam Levitt standing by. In-season Sammy will join us after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. A couple of problems along northbound 805. One is a large recycle bin in middle lanes right before Plaza Boulevard. Then up ahead, getting reports of some debris in lanes. We're talking about running a break to clear that. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And we're joined right now by our Padres pre- and post-game show host. He'll be joining us for the Eco Water SoCal pregame show not too long from now. Padres and Phillies at 3:40 p.m., so that means 2:40 today for the Eco Water SoCal pregame show. Say hello to Sammy Levitt. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? Happy Father's Day
Thank
to Ben, Woodsy.
Thank
Hope you had
you.
a great day.
We did, man. You're out of your submarine. You sound fantastic this morning.
I couldn't risk it. I have bad service here in the apartment, especially if I go to one spot in my kitchen here in PB, but it's specifically this like half-mile radius in PB. The service is not great, so I was not all surprised that things got a little wacky last time. So yes, we are on the Zoom. We've got the mic hooked up, the whole deal.
Yeah, his mission is over. He's returned to shore.
I like it. I like it. A lot of things to regret from this weekend. We talked a little bit about the opportunity to gain some ground on the Dodgers. One thing I hadn't brought up yet, Sam, though, is that when you look at the National League standings, and while we're almost halfway through the season, there is a logjam of like 9 teams separated by just 2 games. The more teams that are there, the harder it is to make the playoffs. And you had a chance to maybe change the course of the Mets season by having a good weekend and keeping them way at the bottom and thinking about the trade deadline as sellers. Now the Mets have no reason not to be one of the teams that's going for it as well in the National League because the Padres got them right back in it with this weekend series.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt about it. When you just think about the Mets in particular, the Padres had a real opportunity to set them back. I mean, look, to the Mets' credit, they've been playing better baseball as of late. And if you would have asked somebody 2-3 weeks ago about what they were going to do as July approaches and the trade deadline ultimately approaches in 5-6 weeks, whatever it is now, I think it would have been a pretty confident answer that that's a team that's going to sell. But this National League is so wide open. And I suppose that what the Mets have done is maybe a bit of a good reminder that if you can put together a good stretch for a couple of weeks, you can change the fortunes of your season pretty quickly. And I guess in the Padres case, that means you could go from hovering around 500 and still somehow holding a wild card spot to taking command of a wild card spot. So it's a good reminder of how quickly things can change if you can go on a bit of a run. But in the Mets case, look, that's a team that despite having a number of issues, also has a lot of star power on it. So, look, that's a team that if they keep playing well is going to be in the mix. But everybody right now, aside really from 2 teams in the NL, are in the mix, which is good for the Padres because it means they're right there. But obviously it means, you know, you have a bad 7 days against 2 of the best teams in the NL coming up in the Phillies and the Brewers. You could all of a sudden, you know, find yourself way down in those NL standings. So I think a pretty crucial 7-game stretch coming up against some very good competition for this Padres team.
Talking to Sammy Levitt here on Ben & Woods, and you mentioned, you know, a run. We could go on a run. The promise of the run is what I think has been driving me personally. Can't speak for anybody else other than myself. The promise of the run is why my hair is now gray for the most part on the sides. You guys see, it's gray. My sideburns are I'm gray. And it's because of that promise of the run. And you look at the players on the field and you go, yeah, those guys are capable of a run. Hell yeah, they are. You look at the pitching staff. You look at the back end of the bullpen. It's a no-brainer. We got all these pieces. I don't know.
Production from the question marks.
Correct.
Like Profar
Yes.
and Merrill.
Yeah, the question marks producing. And you're like, this team is poised for a run. Sammy, we've been poised for a run since opening day of 2023, and it just hasn't come yet, really. And it's the most frustrating part.
Yeah, and I think it goes back farther than that, right? I mean, I saw the same number that Chris has been putting out with the 173 and 173.
Crazy, man.
Since exactly 2 years ago. And look, I think if we're being honest about it, that's what they've been going back to June of 2022. The numbers work it out where it all ends up being 500. But really, aside from playing well down the stretch in 22 and then having a great few weeks in October, right,
Yeah.
where they created some magic. And look, this team, I think, is capable of doing something like that again. But I thought your conversation, I only heard the 6 a.m. hour. I thought it echoed a lot of what I've thought recently about my own coverage of this team, and I thought it was a worthwhile conversation you guys were having.
Yeah, Benny blew me away with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I've just on a personal note, as I've gained more experience in this job, I feel like I've become, a little bit more opinionated on what this team does day to day, week to week. And you'll hear that during our post game coverage every day, the way I open the show and whatnot. And I've just, to this point, I've just stopped kind of trying to string things together game by game, week by week, month by month, make proclamations about what they are and what they aren't, because it's really, really hard to do with this team. So, I've much more taken the last couple of weeks, especially a game by game approach of it, of what happened today. I don't know that that's going to have any impact on tomorrow, right? I don't know that there's going to be any momentum either way, right? When they got swept by the Angels, the world was crashing down. And meanwhile, they were able to bounce back with a 5-2 homestand. And we've gone through this carousel before of momentum where you just can't figure it out day by day and week by week. It just does not make a lot of sense. And guys, I've been talking to you on Mondays for the last 2 seasons. We've had this conversation how many times, right? About going in this circle. But I do think like the Phillies are a good example of, okay, when you look at the Phillies and, they're the team of the week here. But when you look at, okay, how does a team go on that quote unquote run? Well, you look at the Phillies, who are 37-16 against teams with losing records so far this season, a team that's won 23 of 26 home games, a team who has a lot of stars that put up some really big numbers. And I think it starts to come together. Oh, that's how you go on the run. You play well at home. You beat up the teams you should beat. Your stars put up big time numbers. And, the Padres this season haven't, if you want to look at those 3 categories, really, they haven't done that, and they haven't necessarily received that for the most part. So, for me right now, I'm game to game. I'm day to day, and aren't we all?
Yeah,
right?
day to day.
We're all
Good.
day-to-day. I'm game to game, and we take it from there, because I'm with you guys. It's a hard team to figure out day by day and week by week, and it's been that way for a while.
I'm glad you said that. We're talking to Sam Levitt, our Padres pre- and post-game show host, because I was just about to offer up some unsolicited advice.
Oh, no. Here we go again.
Which, if I offered it to you, Sammy, usually the answer is no, thank you. I will pass.
Go for
on
it.
the unsolicited advice. And I won't tell anybody how to fan, and I won't really tell anyone how to media either, but I'll give you my experience. When you cover a baseball team, and I've covered the Padres for a very long time, it becomes very easy to get cynical about the whole process. And you see some of the more veteran members of the media become very cynical when covering the team. And I've tried very hard to avoid that. And I try to approach each season, really each game, as its own individual. It's a different group of personalities, different group of people. But it's very easy to fall into the trap that the San Diego Padres, they're underachievers. They're never going to get there because they haven't. So you just kind of assume that they won't. And I've really tried to remain open-minded and approach it. Not overly positive necessarily, Woods,
But hopeful.
But remain at least open to the possibility that better things could be ahead. And I think that's why some people sometimes say I have rose-colored glasses or I'm not tough enough on the team. No, I'm just open to the possibility that things can get better at some point when I see that. And I appreciate, Sammy, that you said that just take it day to day. Don't throw them away yet. It's too premature to do that.
No, you won't anyway. I mean, the loudest complainers they're there every day, like we all are. I mean, I still build my day. What time's the game today? 3:40.
3:40.
Yeah, I mean, I've got I got a T-ball camp I got to do. I'm going to be hauling ass or watching it on my phone. Again, I still can't wait to see. But what I don't want to start tuning in for is how will they blow this today? Because we have covered those Padres as well, and those aren't fun. Hey, how are you guys going to F this up today? That's also not a fun way to watch your favorite team.
Yeah, look, I fall in line with everything you guys said there, and Ben, what you said. I mean, yeah, I think as silly as it sounds, I think. If I were to give advice to a fan, not that you want to tell people how to fan, but yeah, it's like take it day by day, right? And look, I think what's unique about the Padres situation and is unique to them outside maybe other 500 teams, really two things, right? We've seen this story now for a while, going back to last year. And look, I don't think we can kid ourselves. There is, I think, this season, for better or worse, I do think there is sort of the carryover from last year in a lot of people's minds, right? It's hard to shake last year. And I know in the first couple of months of the season, I said to myself, I said, how long can you talk about last year, reference last year, make the links to last year? But it happened last year, and the disappointment of last year happened. So I do think, throughout the course of this year, there's going to be some of that. But, look, I think what's tantalizing about this group is you just feel, and I think we all do, that there's more in there, right? And there's something in there that has not been unleashed over the course of the past year and a half. And I think that's why we all think, hey, you just got to get in because, number one, you feel like the talent's there. And number two, we've seen it before, right? Just in the last couple of years in 22, if you just get in what this group and what some of these guys can do. But yeah, I'm right now for me, I'm very much in the way I think about the team, talk about the team, take it day by day. If the Padres beat the Phillies tonight, awesome. You're back to 500. You got to do it again tomorrow. But would it shock anyone based on what they've done over the course of the past year plus? If they had a really nice 7-game stretch against the Phillies and the Brewers, I don't think any of us would be shocked because that's what that's what they've done in the past. So, day by day right now. And I think you hope at some point there's a pull away and a securing of a postseason spot, whether that happens in June or July or August or September, and you take things from there. But, we're sitting here on a Monday morning, and I think we can all sort of feel it. There's not always like the greatest answers, right? When you talk about this team or definitive answers or ways you can kind of figure it out because it's been by the numbers and by the records and by all the different things you look at, sort of inexplainable in some different ways over the course of the past year or so.
Sammy, enjoy the rest of your morning. The pregame show will be here before you know it. So have a good afternoon, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Levitt, our Padres pre- and post-game show host. I guess there's just the craving that if they had a good week this week, which they can, we want it to mean something. We want it to be a sign that, our team's going to be okay, that they're headed in the right direction.
We're on the right track.
And you can't really ever do that with the San Diego Padres team.
The promise of the run is like a country song. It's like a bad bro country song. I should write it today at home with my guitar. The promise of the run, because it's really what's graying me. And
they haven't had a meaningful run.
Yeah, the meaningful run
since the end of the 22 season. When the end of the regular season, they came on strong to clinch a playoff spot and then rolled that into the playoffs until they hit the Phillies. Before that, they didn't have a meaningful run until the start of the 2021 season, when they actually did play really well. They got to like 18 games above 500 before the epic and utter collapse of the second half of 2021. But that's a long time to go. I would imagine that most baseball teams have had 2 or 3 fairly meaningful runs since then, when the Padres really just have not had any meaningful, sustained run of baseball.
Bro, it's like putting up a fence,
Right,
and you get halfway done, the wind knocks it over.
like a
And
month
you're,
where they really made some great inroads.
Yeah.
You know, moving up in the standings, putting a little cushion between them and other teams. It just hasn't happened in years now.
Yep.
Years.
Yeah, we
and
get
that's really what we all crave.
Get it all done, get the holes dug, get the posts in, get
Yeah.
a couple boards put on, and then
You don't want
start
to
over.
constantly feel like you're in a fixer-upper all the time.
100%.
And the
It's
Padres
like a money
never,
pit.
they never give you a chance to feel like, okay, they're in a good, secure position after this nice run they've gone on.
Right.
Never.
Never.
It's
been so long.
Now, they could all, like in 2021, they can get there and then you can still, it's baseball, it can blow up in your face. But can we at least get there to that point for a moment? Just a moment's peace with our San Diego Padres?
Oh, God. It's almost bourbon time.
Get to the All-Star break. What are we, about three and a half weeks away?
Yeah.
Get to the All-Star break with a nice 3.5-week run where you get to 8 games above 500.
Yeah,
and we'll...
you sweet
we'll,
kid.
we'll
You sweet
at least-
angel.
I know it's not going to happen, but wouldn't that be nice to sit through the All-Star break going, I like where the Padres are right now.
Yeah.
They played some good baseball. I feel good about where they are in the standings. When's the last time you could feel good
Tim said,
about where the Padres are?
Tim said, no peace, all chaos. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. Yeah, if they're, what did you say? What did you want them to be at?
It's
the All-Star
been
break?
8 games above 500.
8 games above. You should get the Morgan Wallen cut if they go 8 games above 500.
I mean, it sounds...
Paulie, would you do that? Would you get the Morgan Wallen cut?
No.
Come on.
They win the World Series.
Fine. I'm with you.
It sounds ridiculous.
worth
They
it.
have about... looks like about 22 games. I mean, so they have to go, like 16-8 or 15-7. That's not... Teams do that
They
all
do
the
it
time.
all the time.
It's not the Padres.
Not here.
All right, we'll come back. Matt Strahmy's going to join us in our
Strahmy!
final hour. Coming up on Ben and Woods.
At whammy on Twitter just hit me with a brilliant one. This is San Diego Padres. It's fantastic. That's them in a nutshell. They could. Like, you look at the White Sox and you go, yeah, they're probably not going to roll 15-7. Hell, they might, actually. The Might Sox. How about that? But the San Diego, the Might Sox. They could go. Why do I feel more comfortable in the White Sox going 15-7 than I do the San Diego Padres going 15-7? It's because of what the last 2.5 years have shown me.
Ben told us during the break there's 24 games between now and the All-Star game.
Yeah,
All-Star break.
All-Star break. Yep.
So,
Paulie and I immediately
anything other than 12-12 is the wrong answer.
Paulie and I literally at the same time go 12-12, just like that. 24 games till the break. Yeah, 12-12, 100%. The slight deviation, maybe 11-13, 13-11, but it's going to be somewhere in that. Yep. It's going to be double digit. It's going to be.
I promise they won't be 2 games one way or the other.
No, it's going to be right around 11.
It is so much easier to believe that because they got swept by the Mets and now they're facing tougher teams that a 1-23 run is about to start.
100%.
But when positive things happen, we're always waiting for the shoe to drop. Oh, it's about to fall apart. But when negative things happen, it reinforces our belief that everything is bad, is just waiting around the corner.
Yeah.
That's the cynicism that I was kind of telling Sammy to try to avoid that. I don't think he falls into that trap.
No,
but
he doesn't.
Every negative thing is not necessarily a sign of impending doom, just like every positive thing is not a sign that the season is safe and about to be turned around.
Mike, longtime Padres fan, says, yes, everyone's right. I'd still rather watch this team than the Chase Headley Padres. I agree with you 100%. When I moved here in 2010, I still watched every single game, and I was like, this is excruciating. I mean, this is really, really excruciating. Yes, they're a more entertaining team with a lot more talent, which also makes it excruciating in its own right that, you know, the talent that you have and probably overpaid for in a lot of cases is not living up to what they're supposed to.
We've got Matty Strahm coming up soon, so let's get to the headlines today in our Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
You know, the Italian Poll Report and the Bald Reindl Report don't pack the same amount of punch. I love both of those guys, and thanks for filling in.
Yes, thank you both.
I missed the Reindl Report.
Yeah, good to be back. Voice still not there, but
it's all right.
We're
sound
gonna get
fine.
through it.
You sound as good, if not better, than Adam. So you're good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, let's start in the NBA, but NBA media news. We don't really need to. We kind of mentioned where the NBA finals are at. I think Game 5 is tonight, I believe.
Yes,
and,
tonight.
Yeah,
very excited for that.
Dallas absolutely wiped the floor with Boston.
That's the easy one.
I
When
would
you're coming
say-
back from 3-0,
Yeah.
that one's the easy one at
It's
home.
hard to beat any team 4 times in a row. I would bet everything you have on Boston.
Once that one just got a little bit out of hand, the Celtics said, towel, whoop, let's just go home and win it in Game 5. We'll
100%.
see if the Mavericks can make this one interesting. Obviously, keep it close. If they win it, they get it back to home for Game 6, and then all of a sudden you may be staring at a Game 7. So today is the telling one. I would expect Boston to win fairly handily, but you never know. That's why they play the game.
Spread is 6.5.
I would take Boston.
Wow, Boston.
Yeah. But we did have some news in basketball media. There's been so much consternation on the upcoming NBA deal with their television rights. What's going to happen to Inside the NBA, everyone's favorite pre and post and halftime studio show, and Kenny and Chuck and Shaq and Ernie. And I remember Shaq went on a podcast, or he was on with Dan Patrick, I think, recently. He said, look, I've got a production company. thought about maybe hiring all the guys, keep everybody together, but he's kind of changed his tune a little bit. He announced this over the weekend.
I want to say this because you guys are my family. I really love TNT, all the people who work here, NBA television. You guys been great to me for 24 years, and I just want to say thank you to my entire NBA family. I love you guys. You know, there's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months, and I just want to say I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere other than TNT. But I have made the decision myself, no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television.
Damn.
And I just want to say thank you to my NBA family. You guys been great to me. My heart is full with joy and gratitude. But I'm going to pass the baton at the end of next year. I hope the NBA stays with TNT. But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year,
I'll accept.
I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you. And I wanted y'all to hear from me first.
Thank you, man.
I think he meant Benjamin Stephen Higgins.
No, he meant Stephen R. Woods.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I've been sitting on this for a
here's
while,
my
guys,
prediction.
and I'm very excited.
He said he's done with television. There will still be plenty of Charles Barkley content in his future.
Podcast, perhaps.
Well, all he has to do, I mean, Charles just
pops in.
He just pops in and says things.
He's like Bill Walton.
He popped into the NHL Finals broadcast last week. There will be plenty of Charles around, retirement or no retirement. Maybe he won't be doing the nightly thing on television anymore, but you'll find. What, is Charles just going to stop talking for the last 35 years of his life?
Jay in the chat says he's actually passing the baton to Dan Stevens, which was your fake radio name.
Thank you, Charles.
I will never love a story more than I love Ben having a fake name of Dan Stevens. You absolute porno star. Dan Stevens.
Sir Charles is not just going away. He's not. There's no way that guy just disappears for the next 30 years in retirement.
Do you know how much I'm looking forward to that exact speech with you two boneheads in here one day? Do you have any
I'm not doing any more
idea?
interviews.
Don't call me.
This is
Don't
it.
ask me. We want to play golf? We'll play golf. This is it.
We're done.
I'm done.
So I got a great third story. We don't have enough time.
Save it
I'm
for
gonna
later.
Save it for tomorrow. But we do have one more clip of audio here. Nobody asked for Snoop Dogg calling a Major League Baseball game, but my God, I need more of it now.
He was great.
So this was in Milwaukee, and I don't know why he was there exactly, but he was there throughout the first pitch, and he jumped into the booth. Now, he was here like 7 or 8 years ago. I remember he threw out the first pitch. I think he did a post-game concert out at Gallagher Square, or Park at the Park at the time. They didn't put him in the booth, though, with Don and Mud. And that was a big mistake,
It's a
I
huge
think.
mistake.
Because here's a couple of highlights of Snoop Dogg calling Major League Baseball.
This Deuce revolver was my problem solver. Let's go. 22. Yeah. You see me when you was a youngster, man. Show out now. You're an adult now. How often do people slide down that slide over there? Right? He can't get there. He better not outrun you. He better not outrun you. He better not. You better not let the pitcher outrun you, dog. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about.
2 for 2 is
Thank
yelling.
you. Anybody but the pitcher. You can't outrun me, dog. Not you.
Make it tough, love, right?
Yeah, I know. Oh, he gone. He took that. Get up in there. He took that. Give him that. Give him that. Way to go eat. Go eat. 22 eating right now. I came in where the players come in at because I'm a player.
This is the one that was going around the most. It's a ground ball to Ellie De La Cruz, Reds phenom shortstop who Snoop Dogg had no idea existed.
Correct.
Before this play.
I came in where the players come in at because I'm a player. Get up in there. Oh, he said if he can't throw that, he ain't got no arm like that. No, he don't.
He does, though.
No, he don't.
Oh, he does.
Who is that with that rocket?
Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh, Lord.
With a howitzer.
He got a rocket in his pocket. Oh, he made that.
Are you...
Amazing.
Was it the last Olympics when they had Snoop calling the random sports? I hope they do that again this summer. That was great. Equestrian and I hope NBC has him over in Paris later this summer doing some of that again because that was genius content.
Yeah, he's great.
Genius
So
content.
good.
Thank you, Paulie.
You're welcome.
We'll have
All
to
right,
save that Angel Reese story for another time. We have to talk about that at some point. This is getting insane.
We have another segment after Matt Strahm.
All right, we'll do
if
it. We'll do
want
it.
to get
then.
to it.
Yeah,
there.
we watched some of the highlights last night. It was nuts.
But Matt Strahm is going to join us. So let's take an early timeout here. We'll come back with the former Padre, now Phillies, outstanding relief pitcher this season, Matt Strahm, joining us after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. You know, long before we signed the lifetime friendship contract with Manny Machado, there was Matt Strahm.
Yes.
And there was days on the golf course, you guys, when we went out to fantasy camp.
Old school, baby.
We have kept tabs on Matty ever since he left the San Diego Padres. Has been rooting for some success, and boy, is he having some this year, and it is our pleasure to welcome back to Ben & Woods relief pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, Matt Strahm, back on in San Diego here on 97.3 The Fan. Matty, it's always great to catch up with you. How you been?
Good. Appreciate you guys having me.
Our pleasure. Happy Father's Day from yesterday. What kind of loot did you get?
Same deal.
Thank you.
I got some new Fiore clothes and then a watch that says "I love you, Daddy" from Ren on it.
It's it kills me every time. My son wrote me a card, Matty, that said, "I'm sorry I'm so hard to deal with." He's 6 years old, which is incredible. Well, I think what everybody wants to know, Matty, is what kind of Wheaties are you eating? What a fantastic season you've had to this point, man. It's been it really. I mean, you've always been a great pitcher, man. But this season,
he's given up a couple of runs this year.
Yeah,
That's
like
not
literally a couple. That's it. No, you feel locked in. Did you change anything about the off-season routine? Anything?
Nah, I mean it's everything's the same. I mean, this is honestly probably first year in my career I've had the starting rotation in front of me that I've had, so it makes it a lot easier when your bullpen's only covering 3 or 4 innings a night versus 5. So I mean, we're well rested, and I mean, and Topper does a great job of keeping us sharp. So it's I think it just I would just say my workload, like the consistency of it without being overused, it's unbelievable how the stars have aligned.
Well, and just quickly, Matty, you know, because every time a team goes through some scuffles, it's, you know, the bullpen management was wrong. I mean, in San Diego, it's, Bob Melvin couldn't manage a bullpen, and now it's Mike Schilt can't manage a bullpen, and, the overuse.
I think it's the hardest thing to do in baseball.
That's what I always say. And the thing is about you guys, though, the players, do they come to you before they go, hey, how you feeling? Can you give me one today if I need it? I mean, you guys always say yes. Nobody ever says no. So how's anybody supposed to know what to do?
Right. And I mean, that's, again, I think it's the hardest thing to do as a manager is to manage your bullpen. How do you win games with your B guys to keep your A guys sharp? And I mean, it's stuff like that. But I mean, when you look at our bullpen, every guy in our bullpen has a save under his belt except for Turnbull, who's been a starter his entire career.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got guys with experience that have seen all sorts of leverage, and I think that just gives Topper a lot more leeway of when it's a tie game. It's like, well, okay, we'll see what happens with this guy, but he's not. It's not like we're going lesser option. We're all elite. It's just, I mean, flip a coin, pick a straw. We'll go with it.
How's that? I mean, we remember how nasty the bullpen guys are. But I mean, behind Alvarado, you have Kerkering, Sir Anthony Dominguez, you, Hoffman. What's the vibe like? Like, what's the personalities like in that bullpen?
Yeah, that's what's cool about it too. Is this is the first bullpen I mean, this is the first time I've never had a set closer in a bullpen. I mean, Hoffy and Alvy have kind of been doing that role depending on lefty-righty pocket, but I mean, there's no selfishness of why am I not throwing here or why is so-and-so throwing, which it's awesome to see. And I mean, this clubhouse is something special here. There's 26 guys on a mission to do one thing, and it doesn't need to be talked about, and we just do our work.
So we're talking to Matt Strahm here, Philadelphia Phillies relief pitcher on Ben & Woods this morning. And, talking about the clubhouse. And, you guys have hit a little bit of a skid lately, which is rare for you guys. Lost 4 out of your last 6. Does the panic start to creep in or no? Everyone just shows up knowing. And we talked about it last week, Matty, when you're a 500 team, fan of a 500 team like we are. Every game feels like the Super Bowl, and every loss feels like you just lost the Super Bowl. But when you've built up a nice cushion, a little bit easier to stomach that 4 and 6.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously no excuses, but that's a tough road trip, jumping the pond and coming back.
Yes.
So just keep our head afloat there and get back to the bank. I mean, we love playing here in front of our fans. So, it's like I said, no excuses, but the start we've had, it makes it, like you said, a lot easier to stomach. And I mean, we know we're a little banged up right now, and we got guys stepping up for some key pieces. And I mean, we'll be where we need to be hopefully in September.
Talking to Phillies reliever Matt Strahm here on Ben and Woods, and I wanted to ask you about the trip to London for the 2 games. Was there time for anything other than baseball? I know it was a pretty quick turnaround, but did you get to see any sights, any memorable stories?
Still can't really remember it. Still got the fog of the
London fog. That's
the London
thing.
fog,
Yeah.
Yeah. But London itself was unbelievable. I mean, it's a very cool city. As far as like the series for baseball, that's a big ask of those 52 players we sent over there in the middle of their season. But I mean, it's good for baseball, growing the game. It was an electric atmosphere, and but I think we can maybe do something like y'all did, where it's at the beginning of the year, so it's not in the middle of your season.
Yeah, I mean, and we've had to do this the last couple seasons, the weird kind of trips at the beginning, and like you said, no excuses. It throws you guys are so routine based, Matty, that it throws a wrench into the whole thing, and it's like, all right, I'm out of my routine, and you have to be with 162. I don't know that any fan will ever know what the 162 grind is like, plus spring training and all the stuff that you guys got to do. It can catch up to you pretty quick, and jumping on a 12-hour flight probably doesn't help.
No doubt. And that's where I think it would be cool, like, to kind of, like, I love the fact they're trying to play games out of the country, other places, but I think it would be cool where if it was, like, the week before opening day here, how you guys went and played in Japan, if there were 2 teams in Japan, 2 teams in Mexico, 2 teams in London, and you just play that week as, like, a world week before the season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you're not in the middle of the season.
Yeah, the middle of the season's got to be tough. Are you so you're looking right now, and I mean, does the All-Star game?
I was just going to ask.
Does the All-Star game cross?
The numbers
Matty's,
are amazing.
They're incredible.
They usually go with the save guys, but your numbers are incredible. I mean, 1.3 WAR already. It's nuts for a relief pitcher.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're a relief pitcher, so it is what it is. But we'll see.
Do you want to go? You want to go,
you
right?
Want to go?
Of course you want to go.
I mean, everyone wants to
Okay.
go. What the hell you mean? We put this jersey on for a reason. Like we want to compete. We want to compete against the best in the world. But I mean, I get it. It's just the way the game is.
You want us to make up T-shirts like all
Venters,
Strahm or something?
All Strahm.
Venters, all those years in Atlanta, as the setup man in Atlanta, he had sub-1s every All-Star break, and it took him 3 years to finally crack that. So. It is what it is.
Well, Matty, we really appreciate it. And for all the people who in our chat are saying we're just trying to jinx the Phillies by having Matty
That's exactly right.
That is totally what we were doing.
100%.
So mission accomplished. Thank you very much for joining us, Matty.
Yeah. Right on, guys. Anytime.
Take care, man. Matt Strahm, relief pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, and probably immune to the Ben and Woods jinx as well.
Yeah.
He's just been pitching 3 earned runs.
3.
The entire season. He's given
insane.
up 1 homer. He's walked 4 guys in 39 strikeouts. So, I mean, it's not perfect all season long.
My
It's
guess is
12 and a half strikeout per 9 innings. I mean, he's having an unbelievable. His whip is .79. His ERA is .96. And you can make the argument that Hoffman has been even better in their bullpen as well. He's also given up 3 runs, has a lower ERA. Their bullpen is insane.
My guess is that after getting his ass kicked on the golf course by me, he put the golf clubs down and decided to focus on pitching and really bared down after losing to a slob like me on the golf course. But it did happen. I will always have that. Always.
Maybe the card collecting, is he
Maybe the
doing
card
a little less
collecting.
of that?
Yeah. I started to focus on baseball.
Whatever, it's working. Hey, and when you have so many other guys in the bullpen, he made the point that no one ever has to really be overworked because they don't have 3 guys at the bottom of their bullpen that you're afraid to use. They can he can literally go with anybody and feel pretty good about his choice. So, you need a couple days off to rest your arm? Fine, we'll go with these other guys who all have a 0 or 1 something ERA in their bullpen. It's a luxury that the Philadelphia Phillies have that most teams do not.
Yeah, Matt, in the chat says, I remember when Doomers were running Strahm out of town, too. Yes, 100%. This is 100%. I remember it well. It happens. Margie once said that was a soft interview. Why not ask him hard questions about the Padres org when he was on the team? He's just our buddy, dude. Like, I don't...
He hasn't been here in like 5 years.
He hasn't been here in
a
5
while
years,
since he's
man.
been on the team. There's not really anything relevant about the current Padres that involves Matt Strahm.
Lord.
He's on the Phillies.
Yes, Matt. Tell us how Andy Green was as a manager.
Correct, yes. What are the differences in Andy Green and Mike Schilt and Rob Thompson? Like, come on, bro. Can I leave?
No, I think you have to stay for one more segment.
Over it.
You can just hold on.
All right, I'll hold on.
I know you wanted to talk about cultural lightning rod Caitlin Clark.
Bro, what is happening in the NBA or the WNBA right now? What is going on? Every move that this person makes turns into like some war. I watched Scott Van Pelt last night. I was watching the highlights. Holy smokes. Like
it was like it was scripted.
It really was.
For Angel Reese of all people.
Yeah, of course.
To just clothesline Caitlin Clark going up for a layup, and then you're like, yeah, that you're gonna see that play on loop for the next 72 hours on every talk show in sports.
It's nuts. It's nuts, the discourse going on in the WNBA right now. It's unrelenting. It just keeps coming every single day. It is nuts.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about that. We can do a preview of this afternoon. I would call it this afternoon, 3:40, as opposed to tonight's game against the Philadelphia Phillies. When we come back with our final segment of Ben and Woods, do not go anywhere. Going until 10 o'clock here on 97.3 The Fan. Throw a little love toward Brett Boone. Don't forget to check out MLB All-Star, former Padre Brett Boone, and his big league friends on his podcast, the Boone Podcast, 3 days a week. Brett talking with Hall of Famers, fellow All-Stars, friends, and more to get their take on today's game, reliving some great stories. Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Ken Griffey Jr., the list goes on and on. Follow the Boone Podcast in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we'll take a look ahead at today's game, but I really do want to talk about everybody losing their minds about Caitlin Clark.
Well, and let's be honest, too. Everybody losing their minds about Angel Reese, right? It's both.
True.
It's both.
But it's not just, I mean, before that was Kennedy Carter.
Right.
It's not, there's lots of different players that have come at Caitlin Clark.
Well, sure.
She's always she's the constant, though. She's at the center of all of it. If Angel Reese has a hard foul on any other player in the WNBA, it doesn't make one headline at all.
Yes, correct.
So it's not about Angel Reese.
But this one is. Like, just play the traffic and we'll come back and I'll tell you what I mean.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Fish Market, serving the freshest catches from waters near, far, and everywhere in between. Wrapping things up on a pretty good note here, guys. Our Cordell and Cordell traffic cams out of the South Bay show you pretty much full blast, North 5, North 805. Skip the fried food when visiting the San Diego Fair this year and grab some healthy, fresh catch at the Fish Market. So good. The Fish Market off the 5 next to the Del Mar Fairgrounds and downtown on North Harbor Drive. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, can I start this discussion with something that I think is so obvious it doesn't even need to be mentioned, but apparently it does because of the reaction I saw to yesterday's foul by Angel Reese on Caitlin Clark. It's a hard foul. It was a flagrant foul, but it was a normal basketball play. Trying to block it, swiping above someone's head, trying to block it, and
Yes.
you miss, and you accidentally hit the person's head. Now, could you be more careful? Yeah, that's why they call it a foul and upgraded it to a flagrant foul. Is it something at all unusual on a basketball court?
No.
Or signs that someone is specifically like being targeted in terms of taking them out? No.
I don't think so. And I'm so yesterday, Caitlin goes up for a layup. Angel Reese comes across, going for the ball, but bonks her head. Flagrant one. They review it, call it a flagrant one. But then I go to Twitter. I see Matt Leinart, former USC quarterback, say Angel Reese should be suspended, period. Not good for the game. What? What are we talking about? Like, it doesn't have it doesn't have to be that way. It's a hard foul. Like, it's a hard foul that if it went the other
Is
way,
it because of all of the
it's
stuff
gotta be
leading
because
up
of
to
all
it that it was premeditated?
Now she took the shoulder. She took the shoulder, hit the deck, a week or so ago, and none of her teammates came. There's so many layers of this onion. It's crazy. Like, that's one that we can all agree on. Like, her teammates need to defend her as a teammate, not because she's Caitlin Clark. Just as you would.
That's the most confounding thing out of all of this.
That's the one that it's hard to wrap your head around. Somebody needs to get in somebody's face that does something, not even that flagrant one, but the shoulder, the shoulder to the ground. That's one where you get in somebody's face and go,
Stands over them.
Yeah, we're not doing that tonight. But
the hip check by Kennedy Carter is much more egregious.
100%.
It's not like something that's going to take someone out.
No,
I mean,
no,
she
no,
bumped
no.
her to the ground.
Yeah, she knocked her to the ground.
It wasn't
But
like a
again,
dangerous basketball play.
No, but again, that's one where your teammates need to get in somebody's face. Sure, right? But
that's an Indiana Fever issue.
Correct. Yeah.
If I'm an Indiana Fever fan and I want my team to start climbing the standings and show a little, spunk in defending Caitlin Clark, then I'm calling into my Indianapolis talk show going, I'd like to see them do it. As a non-Indiana Fever fan, I could care less if her teammates come to her defense or not. That's a team issue. That's not a cultural issue.
No, it's not a cultural issue. So that's one that we can all agree on. But every time Caitlin Clark gets fouled, it shouldn't be blown out of proportion. And I think this Angel Reese one was. Now, when they talked to Angel Reese after the game last night, I was pretty surprised by her comments as well. Paulie's got that.
For inside, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being able to.
All right. So I don't think that she got a special whistle there. I really don't. I
Not
think,
on that play,
not
maybe
on,
on
that
some
play.
other
Maybe on
plays.
something else, but not on the flagrant one.
You don't think LeBron gets some special
Bro,
whistles?
yeah, I mean, it's
Kobe got some special whistles
yes,
during
Mike,
his career.
The Jordan rules. I mean,
No.
come on, it's been a thing. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, like I was laying in bed last night watching the highlights on Scott Van Pelt with Hannah, and we were watching. I go, these girls are unreal. Like Caitlin Clark looked unreal last night. She's stepping back, hitting threes. Like they really are. They really do put on a good show. I mean, it's an entertaining brand of basketball. There's no question. But to watch the vitriol against Caitlin Clark right now is pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly to see.
Vitriol from
the other
players.
Well, the other players, and then the media rushing to defend her. I mean, it's like this snowball right now for this girl. And
one thing I disagree, though. East County Chris in our chat said Angel Reese is the heel and Clark is the baby face.
No, and Clark is a heel, too.
She's a trash talker.
100%.
I mean, she's not some sweet, innocent basketball
like who,
figure.
me? I know.
She gets into it with everybody as well, which is great. It's great. I mean, the women's game has never been more popular, and it's never been more dramatic. It's never been, as close to equivalent as the men's game as it is right now, thanks to this kind of play, because it's the kind of play you see in the men's game as well.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's exciting. There's going to be some drama. There's going to be some talk about it. But Caitlin Clark is not, she's not just a sweet, innocent person in all of this.
Victim.
She's a high-profile rookie. Guess what? In any sport, high-profile rookies tend to draw the attention of veteran players around the league.
Remember Cole Hamels, what he did to Bryce Harper when he came up in the league?
Yes.
Drilled him with 97 in the back.
Tatis saw it a ton. When
still sees
it a lot. I mean,
But it's, this is not super uncommon for them to go after the big new prize. But it is just, I mean, like Leinart going on Twitter saying she needs to be suspended. She doesn't. This is a flagrant one. She hit her with the side of her forearm in the head.
And if she gets a few more flagrants, then she gets a one-game suspension. That's the way it works. They have a formula for it. There is a disciplinary structure in the WNBA, just like in the NBA, and they're following it. And the way everybody loses their mind when talking about Caitlin Clark, I think is one of the more overblown stories we've seen in sports lately.
I think so too, and I don't want to contribute to it. I think they're all pretty remarkable talents, man. Watching them last night in the very limited, I don't watch the NBA, so it's one of those things. But watching it in the very limited time I watched, I went, God dang, man, these girls flat out play.
I'll say, I mean, I didn't watch. Maybe watched a little WNBA in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a second of women's college basketball before this last year.
Yeah.
Watched a little bit of the postseason, especially the tournament. And I'm following the WNBA now, at least loosely. And over the last few days, my wife pointed out, she goes, hey, the LA Sparks are playing the Las Vegas Aces on Friday, July 5th. Let's see if we can get tickets. And we're going up. We're going to go watch Cameron Brink and the Sparks, Kelsey Plum and Asia Wilson on the Aces, the defending champs. So we got tickets, lower bowl seats, and never would have thought I was going to go to a WNBA game, but it's fascinating right now, and it's good. It's a good product.
It's a good product, and I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it is good to always have eyeballs on your product, good, bad, indifferent. I'm not indifferent, good or bad. But no, it's pretty remarkable what this has all turned into over the last month or so.
I mean, I see some comments about Angel Reese in the chat, and yeah, if you're not a Chicago Sky fan, probably not going to like Angel Reese.
Correct.
Just like we're never going to like,
Max
Muncy, playing for the other team.
Right.
He's a villain because he plays for the other guys. She's not trying to win your support. She's a, tough ball player that's trying to win games for her team, and that makes her kind of unlikable for other teams. And because Caitlin Clark is everybody's team right now. There weren't a ton of WNBA fans 6 months ago, but now there are a lot of Caitlin Clark fans. So Caitlin Clark is essentially the team that America is cheering for. And now everybody else is on the other team. even her own teammates are sometimes on the other team because
Feels
they're not
like it.
supporting her. So if you're cheering for Caitlin Clark's team, you don't really like anybody else in the WNBA right now because they all seem to be opposed to Caitlin Clark. Because you know what? That's how sports works. Caitlin Clark's trying to beat everybody else, and, they become the enemy. So, yeah, she's got a lot of enemies out there. She's a good player, and, she's trying to make some inroads in the WNBA. Now, is she the best player in the league? Of course not.
No.
She doesn't even deserve to be on the Olympic team. We talked about this last week. It's a missed opportunity for women's basketball to not have her on the team and maybe short-sighted, but she hasn't earned a spot on that team yet, so I have no problem with them leaving her off the team. She's not there yet. She had a really good game yesterday, one of her best all-around games. It's been an up-and-down start, as it was for LeBron James in his first year in the NBA, as it is for most, Kobe Bryant. No one jumps from college to the pros and becomes a star instantly. That is very, very rare to see that. It takes some maturity, some experience, some just growing to be a star on that next level. She will get there. I have no doubt in my mind she will be an MVP and one of the best players in the league soon. But she's not there yet.
Yeah.
She's probably the best player on her team right now, but it's not a good team, and there's some growth to be had there.
Yeah, 100%. It's fascinating story. In the world of sports, Benjamin. It's more fascinating, I think, than what's going on with our hometown baseball team right now. And we do have another game today. Who's on the bump tonight, Benjamin?
Randy Vasquez
against
Christopher Sanchez, left-hander. Ooh, for the Philadelphia Phillies. Got a 3.07 ERA. 61 strikeouts, 23 walks in 70 innings. I mean, they have a lot of good pitchers. He's not the nastiest that they've got, but certainly seems like the kind of guy who's been giving the Padres problems as of late.
Because
in Christopher
he throws
Sanchez.
with his left hand.
That's definitely a big part of the reason, for sure.
Is he not even on Savant? I'm just trying to look him on Savant right now. He's not even on there.
Christopher Sanchez. How are you
spell it
spelling
any weird?
C-R, no H.
There you go.
C-R-I-S-T-O-P-H-E-R.
There he is.
Sanchez.
You don't miss a beat. Yeah, 3-3, 307. Okay, yeah, he's sinker guy. Sinker, changeup, slider,
it's not like
cut.
the Padres hit a lot of ground balls.
No, we loved it. When was the last time you've seen us beat sinkers into the ground, even at 96 to 100 miles an hour? When's that happen? No, he's sinker, changeup. Oh God, I'm sick to my stomach.
Mike
already.
Schilt would like to have you believe that the late signs of offense yesterday will carry over and a good sign for the team. I guess we can remain open, as I said, be open-minded about the possibilities of today.
Is Schilt the Ben Higgins of managers?
Probably, yeah. He also is ejected 3 times leading all of baseball, which probably wouldn't be my MO.
At all.
I might be the only manager who would never be ejected from any game ever.
Is he Country Ben?
He's Country Ben.
Yeah. That's your new, it's his new nickname, Country Ben. He's Country Ben, North Carolina Ben.
Watch your mouth, cuz.
Yeah, watch your mouth, cuz. Huh. Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster tonight. Not to be a stick in the mud or anything, but it's a literal recipe for disaster with this guy on the mound.
No, it's not a recipe for disaster.
No, it is.
It's a recipe for a really frustrating 3-1 loss.
Hence a disaster. Would be your 4th loss in a row.
No.
That's a disaster. Country. I can't wait to hear Country Ben's presser. From now on, he's going to be Country Ben.
7 straight road losses, though, from the team that was at one point had the best road record in the National League. All of a sudden, can't win a road game. 7 in a row, dating from before this road trip into the last road trip. At some point, they're going to win a road game, right? I mean, it is baseball. No one loses them all. No one wins them all.
At some point, they're going to dominate a left-hander.
It's also true. They will. They've actually won a bunch of games against lefties this year.
Once they waited them out and got into their bullpen.
I did see someone in the chat go, is it just me or is like 75% of the league now left-handers going up against the Padres?
AC talked to Cronenworth about that in the newsletter.
If you want to know the actual numbers, about 25% of starting pitchers in baseball are lefties.
Okay.
So you should face a lefty on average 1 out of every 4
They just
games.
put them all against the
In
Padres.
the last 30 games, though, the Padres have faced 15 lefties. So they're facing twice as many lefties as you would normally expect to get. Now, Is that a strategic decision by other teams or just random chance? I don't know. I have not seen any managers say they've changed their rotation to make sure the lefties line up against the San Diego Padres. You'd think that would be something that would be reported on, like, oh, we're going to hold this guy back a day so we can have lefties face the Padres.
You don't know that it hasn't.
I don't know that it hasn't
It
either.
would take a really deep dive.
It could have quietly happened, but the Padres have been facing much more than their fair share of lefties over the last 30 games in which they have struggled against those left-handed pitchers. So until they start hitting them, you can't expect that number to go down. I mean, if managers aren't doing it, they should be doing it soon. Because until the Padres prove that they can hit left-handers, I will do everything I can to make sure I've got as many lefties as I can going up against the San Diego Padres in my series against that team.
Easy dubs, man. That's exactly right. It's what you're praying for.
Except for maybe Jackson Merrill, who all of a sudden is crushing the ball against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
Which makes no sense at all either. But
it doesn't. I don't know about how many have revamped their rotations to make that fall in line. But even, Cronenworth was talking to Kevin Acee, and he said, it seems like there's every day, we're out there running up against a new lefty. So, about 50% of the time, you're saying. Wow.
Including 2 of the next 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. So today's game is, again, Randy Vasquez against Christopher Sanchez. And then tomorrow will be Michael King against Aaron Nola. He's a righty. Then back to Matt Waldron against Ranger Suarez on Wednesday to wrap up the series. And that is the day of our golf tournament. We will be off that morning, as will all the shows, but it's an early game, so it's a 9 a.m. pregame show. So we wouldn't have had a full show anyway.
And what do we do on the – okay. Yeah. So we took the day off. No, we got the day off.
We got the day off, but it would have been a short show had we not gotten the day off.
Fantastic.
We should have the game on. We'll have it. There's TVs at the GOAT, so we'll have it on when we're –
And make sure you can come out. Come out. You don't have to play golf. In fact, you can't play golf anymore. We're done selling tickets. So come out and hang out and help us heckle people on the 10th hole. If you are playing, you will be heckled on the 10th hole. So just know that going in. It's going to be a fun day, raising money for charity and just being all together. We need it. We need each other more than ever right now with this team.
Absolutely. Great prizes like the Nixon watch that I am modeling today.
You keeping that or?
No.
So we're going to give it.
It's going back.
So we are giving away a watch you wore. So somebody's getting a game.
More valuable. Yeah,
I don't think that's how that works.
You tarnished the value.
What?
You drove it off the lot.
Correct.
Lost half its value.
Yeah, you drove it off.
No.
It's worth half of what
it's not. It's a watch. It's an heirloom now.
It's not an heirloom.
It's a family heirloom.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that. It's game used now.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry to whoever wins.
Sorry about your used oily watch that you're going to get.
For Paulie and Woods, I'm Ben, Annie, and Elston coming up next year on 97 Through the Fans. So long, everybody.